Welcome to the Swolenormous PROCAST with your host, Papa Swolio.
What's going on? Oh, family.
What was your millennials? I don't even know what you were saying, so say it from the scratch because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I really think that anymore because you and I kind of it sounds weird even saying like we're childhood buddies. We grew up in the industry together, but we kind of did. We like when everything was peaking. Like social media had only really been crushing for 36 to 48 months before we like really met. And what I mean by crushing is like from 2010 to 2016 ish, I guess, was like the proving point that the internet is here. Social media is not just a fad. Like everybody knew that. Everybody was screaming that from the mountaintops, whatever. So it used to be to where because of just the times and the access to information, all that kind of stuff, it wasn't hard to be an expert, quote unquote. Brendan Burchard and that whole fleet of people sort of started that expert industry, the Marie Forleos, the Brendan Burchards, all those kind of guys, the Ryan Dices, Frank Kearns, whatnot, following in the footsteps of the more elite marketers like, Seth Godin, Ann Hadley, whatever. And so back then, when I was doing marketing stuff, it was like I could talk about basic marketing things that we were doing, like marketing 101, 102, whatever. And for other people, it was like, because in college, they're hearing about traditional marketing and, like whatever and all this bull crap. But anymore, with the way that social media has progressed exponentially, I really do believe we're in a place where like your 101, 102, like essentially like your first three levels of marketing are almost common knowledge now. Like you should know how to crush social media. You should know how to create content editorials. You should know how to sell a product. You know how many 14-year-old girls are Amazon FBAing and affiliate thising and drop shipping thising and, like whatever, and printing this on designs or whatever, and making 5 figures here, whatever, out like breadwinning their parents. We talked to touch on that a little bit last time. So anymore, I think what is truly valuable is when you can really feel the gut of somebody's experience and context. Like, they know the knowledge, 101, 102, but there's something there. And I think that's the one thing that I love, that we hold each other accountable to, like, just shave the bullshit off. Like what's actually working, what platforms are working, what strategies are working, not getting romantic about stuff that used to work, but it's not working anymore, like, and vice versa. So I just think we're in different times, man, to where who I was 5 years ago, if that dude exists today, everybody be like, yeah, everybody knows that shit. But like now I'm presenting myself in a different way, or at least attempting to, and you're in a completely different place. You know what I'm saying? Like you're out here, leading, you're making my stuff look like a joke from back then.
and I don't know what works today. I have no idea.
Yeah. Cause it changes like so often.
It changes every day. It actually changes every day. I'm not sure what, I think that's part of my why I'm kind of stepping back a little bit. It's because a lot of things are working, but not a lot of stuff is working.
Right.
I can't really explain it. It seems like social media has, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like it's stalled. I feel like something,
it's like, it's in a weird limbo to where
I feel like nothing is, I feel like people are, I feel like people are maybe tired isn't the word. I think people are exhausted, but they're addicted. And they're dependent. They're exhausted, but they're addicted and dependent. So I don't think they can stop. So that's why there's so much more negativity, because people are just, when you spend time with someone, like just even if you like them just too long, you spend a weekend with someone and you just want to, you're around someone too much. You just get on each other's nerves. I feel like that's what social media is. It's just on everyone's nerves, but they can't get rid of it because they're.
Right. It's integrated into our entire
It's integrated
life.
into everything. So the only way you communicate with people are through these platforms. So you have to be exposed to this type of stuff. And of course, as it gets more and more manipulated, and especially like, I don't see it getting better after like the election, dude, like it's going to get so much worse in the next 45 days. I mean, we're under less than 2 months away from the election, and that's only before the election. Imagine what happens after, because I think more, I mean, you remember when they had to, back in, what was it? Was it 2000? I think 2000, when they had the hanging chads and they had to go back and remember the presidency. You might have been too young.
Dang. Yeah.
I wasn't much older. I think I was in high school. I was in high school when it happened. 2004, I think it was 2004.
Oh, bro, 2004. I wasn't even in high school yet.
No,
I was 2005 to
no,
2009.
no. I mean, I'm wrong. I think that was 2000. It was the Bush and Al Gore thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was
Oh yeah.
I think that was 2000. So anyway, but I mean, even if there's, because of all the stuff about, are you going to be able to mail in vote? Are they going to open up the voter locations? Are they going to open it up late? Are they going to
Right.
blame it on, COVID? And then I think there's going to be a lot of either recounting or delayed, or them arguing about who won, or one side fighting the other. Because imagine
Is it going to matter?
imagine every other year. Well, there's so much more uncertainty than there ever has been before, and people don't trust anything.
Right.
So how are you going to trust all these voting booths, and how are you going to trust the reporting, and how are you going to trust the mail-in? And like the scary thing is that everything, including the money, is 100% based on trust. And that is the scariest fucking thing, because everyone thinks, oh, it's fake news. It's fake news. Fake news, not believing the government. How long does it take until people don't believe in the money anymore?
Yeah.
Like, it's just numbers on a screen, let alone a piece of paper. That money, that cotton right there, that unique material for money, like what was it, not the thread, but the actual, it's like cloth with, it's not just paper, obviously.
We went to the Federal Reserve as a field trip one time and saw that.
Right. So how they make it, and it's like really thin, fibrous, and how they make it so you can tell if it's a counterfeit, like, secret ratios or whatever the heck they do. That's just based on trust. And then if someone, it's not worth anything, it's only worth what it represents that it's worth.
Right.
So, I think that's one of the last things to go, because at the same time, when a movement gets so big that it can't even control itself, it doesn't know when to stop. It'll stop when it's over. And then, because I don't think anyone wants to, people think that it's cool to burn shit down. People think it's cool to destroy stuff. And then it's like, well, where are you going to buy your groceries? Like, where are you getting that? Are you hunting? Are you farming or something? Like, from your apartment building? Where do you from your condo? Like, where do you think food comes from? The country that you claim to hate, that is so evil to you, and all the people that are against you, and how awful everything is. Where'd you get those Nikes?
Right.
Where'd you get those Nikes?
Yeah.
I mean, who sold them to you? Who brought them? Who shipped them? Who checked them through customs to make sure there weren't drugs in them or something? Or right. Like, who made them? Of course, like, you're part of the whole system of the environment. Yeah, but you're wearing Vans or something. It's like, you care about the environment, all this stuff, yet you're wearing Gucci or Louis Vuitton. And how do you think that got here? How do you think that got made?
It's almost like all those Twitter trolls or those social trolls that used to always be like, but the earth, and everybody would make fun of them. It's like, they were kind of right, and I mean, just like people who care about like how things are sourced and whatever.
It's like, the environment on your iPhone. Like, do you know where the materials for your iPhone come from? Yeah. you have like 2-year-olds in Vietnam putting this stuff together.
Yeah.
Not to mention when they're murdering tribes over like the material for the chips and stuff, the diamond, not diamond, but what I'm talking about. Starts with a C. Is it cadmium, or is it something else?
Have you ever seen that movie Blood Diamond? I haven't seen it for a while. It's like DiCaprio and the black guy.
Yeah. I forget his name. I think he was in
I forget.
Wasn't he in Amistad too?
I've never seen that one.
Oh, dude, that's a
after I saw Blood Diamond, I went and watched like all of his IMDb or whatever that site is called, like everything that was on.
That guy's a beast of an actor, man.
Yeah,
the black guy, like,
so good, bro.
Him and Leo. I should watch that movie again, because I remember it being good, or it got great acclaim, but I think I was either too young or not paying attention as much as I should have.
Yeah, the emotional drama of it was
for a movie like that.
Very,
I think when I watched, I wasn't in like the focused mindset for that movie, so I kind of punched out, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts about social media? Because we were just talking before offline that obviously we've talked about this. I mean, anyone watching this is probably aware that my channels are hardcore. I don't even know if you would call them shadow banned. They're like, I mean, I guess that is, aside from being banned, means you're not available. So my stuff is completely throttled. So it's interesting because, when the faucets or the avenues are controlled, and when they have all the control, I think the balance, I think that's the trade-off, the utility, the public utility, or the control. Because anytime you enforce some kind of censorship or laws, like, you're in control and you're manipulating the conversation. And when every piece of information comes through this faucet or this filter, it's like, if you're in charge of the filter, you're in charge of the outcome.
Yeah.
And you're in charge of the narrative. Like, I mean, I don't see the reason why my stuff is so limited, and other people that make the same exact content, the same exact topics, they get tons of reach, distribution, blowing up. Like, I'm really impressed that my channel, or at least the Swolenormous channel, grew to where it was, because I mean, I feel like that was against all algorithmic logic. I feel like that was like a
like you slipped through the cracks or something.
I feel like it was just forced. I just bashed YouTube with so much content that I forced that growth, and I happened to jump on the right topics when they popped. I struck when I needed to strike, but obviously when there's like the status quo, and it could have something to do with the election. It could just be I mean, because I don't really want to talk. I don't want to talk as if I didn't predict this. I've been saying this for a while, that things are going to get a lot worse when it comes to freedom of speech. Things are going to get a lot worse. So maybe this is just the spearhead, and I'm just that far to the outside because I say literally what I want. This is just kind of like the first waves of them tightening that sphincter, so to speak. What are your thoughts on social media? Like, no, what are your thoughts on, like,
is that the first PROCAST t-shirt?
Yeah, maybe.
What are my thoughts on
and the O in PROCAST is a sphincter. Just a butthole.
I'll draw it on my iPad.
We'll also have a brown shirt, some wrinkles on it.
Jesus, like somehow add some technology in the shirt to where that part of the shirt's always wrinkled.
No, yeah, right. Just change like the material of it. So that would be the new. You'll have that be the new intro. It'll be like the Swolenormous PROCAST, and the little O go.
Tightening sphincters,
or like this
at a time.
So.
That's just funny. So your official question is what I think about, like, the landscape of that and where it's headed.
Well, what do you think? Yeah, I think it's the lull. I think it's that lull. It's that quiet period, and I think it's and bro, we have to actually. I'll probably Google it while we're. I'll probably Google. Pop just came in here. I'll probably Google while we're recording, because that TikTok thing. Oh, I had that new. I think I did an impact on it about TikTok, how I don't think China's going to sell it. I think they planned it. I think I have a feeling that
I haven't watched that video yet. So
no, but when I was like covering this, I think China just changed the law.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the law about exporting, or about something with like digital stuff, something about that has to do with, I guess, selling a tech company or something like that.
Yeah,
they changed the law in the last week or two that they haven't touched in 10 years, which stalled the sale. So I'm like, what would be, all right. So let's start off with this then. What would be the best way to break a democracy, or to have a kind of cold war or a tech war with the United States? You create an app, right? You infiltrate all these other countries with different apps and like the foundation, right?
Yep.
You take cheap labor, you take away all production, so you control the pharmaceuticals, the food, you technically control the economy. Then you create this viral app in which you get everyone addicted to, right? You get everyone addicted to, you get everyone hooked on, you get everyone's emotional state from the youth all the way up, right? You create that kind of like addiction when every other app is like hiding the followers, hiding the subscribers. YouTube changed their, right? Now you see the abbreviation for the subscribers. Instagram took away, so no one else can see how many people liked your video. They just say so-and-so and others, right? They changed that.
Yep.
TikTok comes along, makes a really viral app that has hearts, followers, boom, get your drugs here, kids. You get everyone hooked. And then right before the election, what do? You pull it away. Oops, are you going to ban it? Well, we're not going to sell it. We'll make it seem like we're going to sell it. And then, nope, we're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Makes Trump look bad. Everyone fucking freaks out. Kids start committing suicide. They lose all their followers. They lose it. They have no connection with their friends. They feel miserable. Everyone's fucking pissed off. Everyone that has this like false sense of like security, boom, they get the rug pulled out from them. People are pissed at Trump. People are pissed at the Democrats, blah, blah. You have riots. You have that. I mean, like we already do. It just adds to the pile. So, I mean, if you're really trying to leverage it, I say the option, I mean, I hate to say it, but if I was China, that's what I would do. Like I wouldn't sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same, at the same time, I don't know. At the same time, it's like you either like two options: you make a shitload of money off a sale, or you don't sell it. It's a win.
Right.
It's not a loss. Like, hey, okay, 50 bill. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't know,
where does it end?
I know that's deep. You can take that. You take it anywhere you want. I don't care.
I want to the two things that you said that I want to start here, and I'll see where my mind takes me. But I think that it's almost like when you grow up out of your adolescence and then you kind of realize that there's been an infrastructure to this world the whole time, and you just didn't know because you're an effing kid, like you just wanted to hang out with friends, sleepovers, have a good time, disobey your parents, be on your phone, be on my game. What was it? Game Boy SD back in the day.
Game Boy, the DS.
Oh yeah, DS. Yeah, like the flip out one.
That was after me. I had the original Game Boy.
I had that one for like Pokemon, for MLB, whatever it was, and something else like that.
I had that in 80. When did I get that one? Like 89 when it came out. Yeah. I got it for like Christmas or something that year. That was the big thing.
Honestly, I'm sure they're hard to find or expensive as shit, but I would love one to find one.
Dude, I bet they're less than you think they are.
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about how many there were. It's not like those were so mass produced. Now you got me curious.
Yeah. You can look it up. So I think one thing, like, growing up and then you kind of hit, it's weird because they say, like, for example, when I went to college
for like $60.
Yeah.
$50, but original Game Boy Pocket Silver.
Oh yeah. The pockets.
Yep. Dude, six games, $60 or best offer. So, I mean, like, there's 15 watchers.
Pokemon, bro. Pokemon was the stuff back in the day.
Restored original, $90. Yeah. I mean, 100. I mean, that makes sense. You get some games out there, I'm sure.
Yeah,
under $100 you can get one. You can see them with games. I mean, I'm they made a bunch of versions. So I mean, if you want the original, or oh my god, I might get one just for like my.
I think they have like new. I mean, I don't think I've seen like ads and obviously stuff over the past few years, but where they create like new hardware, but the same old software and games and whatever. And it's like, and like you can play all of the games in one system.
Oh, the emulators where you get like a system. It's a new system, but it's like a box that's different.
Yeah. And it has like all this stuff. I'm like, it's not, it's the experience,
It's not the same.
I need the lag. I need the blowing on the cartridge. I need the random like lines that go across it. I need all of that.
I got 64. I got Nintendo 64. That's the blowing. That's like,
bro, what games do you have?
I have the games. I got Smash. I got GoldenEye. I have Mario Kart. Bro, I don't fuck around. I got the real games. I got Blitz. I got Blitz football.
NFL Blitz.
Dude, you like smash the guy, bro.
Yeah.
I have a shopping bag full of games. They're just loose. You got to blow the.
Yeah. That I had that one, and then I had the GameCube and for a little bit, but I only had the GameCube because I was like really heavy into Madden. Like I'd do tourneys with my friends and all that kind of stuff when Madden really started popping, like a little bit more like sophisticated versions of it. I just did
a video today. Colin Kaepernick is back in Madden for no reason.
Yeah, I saw the and he has like his own custom intro and all this.
I wonder why. Geez, trying to make some sales on woke culture, huh?
Oh, speaking while we're on gaming here. Something else just happened where UFC 4 obviously dropped their thing recently. And so I mean it's just like everything else. You got Madden 21 coming, you just had UFC drop, whatever. Well, they try to do like in-game ads for actual like real-time events and stuff, which sounds like something they've done in the past, but they've been a little bit more communicative about it and stuff like that. They didn't really let people know it was going to happen, and they got like a bunch of backlash, and they had to take ads out of the game because people were like, I'm not paying for a $60 game and then still seeing ads.
Absolutely.
Which I understand, but I also understand where the state of the industry is going. It's like when you have everybody's mind in that world, eventually you're going to have some type of monetization, or at least they're going to want to superimpose that, because if our attention is not in the real world for 80% of the day, how is the economy going to survive? And that's like, now we're starting to have millennials and Gen Zs actually come into a place to, like, again, I don't think people realize how much can change economically when a new generation comes into adulthood or buying power or the workforce. What happens when the workforce is 50% virtual, 75% virtual? And I'm not even talking virtual like, oh, we're just having Zoom meetings for traditional companies. I'm talking, no, we're virtual companies doing virtual things for virtual entities and virtual personalities and brands. Like, and it's a different world, you know, like just in general, it's the same sort of system theoretically. Like you're going to have some type of, you know, marketplace, and you're going to have like merchant stuff and like all that, you know, you have whatever. So I just think it's interesting that we're, you know, we got in a little gaming trail, but it's like all these little nuances of, you can tell when something is controlled is the punchline I was going to try to make off of what you were saying with like YouTube and Instagram. Is like, I know I've been shadow banned on TikTok. I can point to the day it happened because my analytics were going like this. I had 3 videos pop at the same time. One was at 800K, one was at 6 million, one was at 8 million. Next week, just like that. And I don't make offensive content. I don't make like racial content. I have a couple like sexual innuendo ones, but like I do it like very like off screen to where I stop.
Sexual innuendo. You have girls that are freaking like half, I don't want to say half naked, like 90% naked. Give me a break.
That's what I'm saying. Like where you can, and I'm just like, and I'm actually.
All these 16-year-olds are dancing to wet ass pussy, and you're fucking, I don't know if my thing's offensive. It's like, well, you're getting paid tons of money off royalties. Of course you don't care if girls are half naked, but this is
so if you have half a brain, you can pretty much punchline. If you have half a brain, you can see when there's a pattern or something's being controlled. It's easy. All my videos stop at legitimately 650 views.
It's all gonna flip. It's all gonna flip because you have everyone that's going back to work now, but it doesn't make sense. Everyone knows now after COVID that you don't have to go to work. There's no, I don't understand why. I think a lot of people are just going to be, you were at home for 4 months, right? 5 months. You were doing the same exact job and it was fine. You did Zoom calls and you found like it's been long enough where people actually had a new normal.
Yeah. Like
this is how work is done now. Cool. I mean, it's different for someone that does in-person stuff like a personal trainer or a hairstylist or a nail, you know, that your job is in person, right?
Right.
But every other company, you realize, oh, well, we were in business and doing stuff fine for the last 6 months. Now I'm commuting an hour each way. Why am I doing this again? Like, I don't want to be here. I did the same thing. Why can't I just do it from home like I did before?
Right.
I just don't think you're going to get a lot of people that don't go back or a lot of businesses that change for good. It's like, why would you have people come in when you don't have to? I think it's silly.
Right. So this is a weird phrase to say out loud, and I'm sure there's people who are way more qualified and way more sophisticated in communicating about this, but you know how like companies get disrupted that have been around for a century, and you know all that kind of stuff. Like we're very aware of, you know, red ocean, blue ocean competition, people getting disrupted, you know, industry, whatever stuff being archaic, being reinvented. What about economies being disrupted, like from new ways of doing things, like legitimately dismantling economy? Because an economy is just a business at scale. That's all it is. So technically, if we found a new model that works, like this is what I mean. Why can a Tesla rise up when you already have these companies that are billions and billions and billions of dollars deep into their sophistication, their research, their product development, their manufacturing, their operations, their HR, all that kind of stuff? It's because systems slow you down. They don't actually allow you to operate at capacity, but you know it's a sacrifice you're making. It's business sense 101, right? These systems allow us to make repeatable things. Repeatable things allow us to scale, but you know that you're not as nimble, you're not as quick, you have red tape, you have layers, you have things you have to go through, all of that kind of stuff. Well, what happens when you realize that, like, for example, you and I have been doing the whole virtual work thing for a very long, like it wasn't different from me, other than the fact the thing that was most different for me is everybody else was doing it. I'm not used to that. Yeah, I'm used to being like one of the only ones, like, you know, being this weird dude who, like, you know, people have been asking me for 8 to 10 years, what is it you do again? Like, well, you help people more. Like, people just don't get it. And now people really get it. It's like you said, I commute and then spend 6 hours there to talk to Becky, to get permission from, you know, executive this way. Like, why when I could like, and this is the other thing too that I've seen subtly. It hasn't been like a viral thing, but I know a couple of people, but it's like people who realize you can actually work a couple of jobs at the same time, because what they require from you at a corporate level is really not that strenuous when you can just hop on, give your mind, complete a thing to the standard at which they need it, or over deliver, and you realize, oh wow, like it's the system.
Think about how many hours are wasted at a job.
So many. There's benchmarks on it. We could literally look it up.
So many. Everyone's watching the Daily Swole pod. People are watching the podcast. People are listening to videos. You're going to the bathroom and you're watching. You're jumping on social media. You're doing other stuff anyway.
Right.
I mean, how much work does that? You're taking a lunch break. You're doing a 5-minute break. You're trying to punch out as often as you possibly can anyway, because you don't want to be there. It's boring.
And there's zero accountability.
There's actually something there that I wanted to mention about the video games. Like an option so you don't piss people off is you give them kind of options like Amazon does with their Kindle. You have 2 options for Amazon Kindle. You can get one with ads or one without ads.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it, but it might be like $79, but then you get it without ads, it's $99.
Yep.
If you want to sell a game, sell it for $39.99 with ads. Someone who doesn't have a lot of money is like, all right, well, I'll take the ads. And then you spend $59.99 and then you get full price without ads. So you don't charge them more, because then they're going to be like, well, what the fuck, man? If they're paying $60, you can't raise the price.
Yeah.
Unless everyone raises the price, unless like it's just the economy thing. But video games have been like $59.99 for 30 years. Like they've been the same price pretty much. Like they haven't really gone up unless it's like a huge limited release, or maybe certain special video games could actually get away with $10 more. But more than that, people are be like, fuck that, I'll wait. Especially now with Netflix and GameFly and all these different things. So now you could have that option where you get someone who like the lower end, and then you advertise as much as you want, and then or you pay more for the game without ads. That could be a way around it. Or it's like an unlock feature where everyone gets it. Everyone gets the game for $39.
Oh, and then inside of the system. Yep.
Yeah, inside the system. And then of course, maybe in that way you have, if you get people to do it that way, then you actually get their information or their card, and then you can get they already logged in. Then you can maybe easily upsell them on other in-game purchases, not just in-app purchases. But people get pissed off if you start saying like, you start treating it like Fortnite where you have to pay to do anything. It's like, oh, well, you can do better in the game if you just give us more money. It's like, that's, you want to earn that shit, or earn like points or earn levels and stuff.
Right. I think what's actually going to end up happening, like long-term, is I think it's just going to be a natural. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. It's going to, there's going to be a lot of dynamic to it or whatever, but essentially economics is going to go to a place, especially from the media perspective, to where, it's going to have to follow attention. We know basic rules like that, right? So like, imagine like, for example, social media changing into where like social media anymore is really just a place that it's like a bulletin board, right? You're putting little things up to try to get people to go other places, right? And right now, the most retained attention is in gaming environments where you're just hanging out with people and watching other people do stuff. So eventually, is it going to be to where social media is really that? Because think about that. It's TV, social, and all forms of media and communication in one, plus community, which is all your stuff that's working right now in regards to, groups and all that kind of stuff from a model perspective. So it's like almost like, imagine, because you got to think about it, the biggest entertainers in the world, they really only post on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to be like, hey, I'll let you know when I'm doing my real content over here. Nobody's really just, like you said, it's weird to be, and even people who formerly did it, like referred to themselves as a whatever apostrophe ER, TikToker, YouTuber, whatever, they don't even refer to themselves as that anymore because they realize that's limiting as shit. I don't want to be a YouTuber or a TikToker or whatever, because that's just a person who posts something up on the bulletin board. And what I'm saying, like you need a business model. You need a place where your people can hang. And the same thing with, like, for example, you own a membership site, and we won't go into details on all that kind of stuff, but it's like membership site, you have people, like you have a whole network back there. Like you said it for a long time. You could disconnect from social media and just hang with your people as long as they want to hang with you, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, how is that any different than gaming, just amplified by 100x? Because I just watched this random girl tweet the other day. I don't even know who she is or whatever. And I don't follow her. It's just like one of those suggested, but it says something. I think one of the people I follow retweeted it. So it showed up in my timeline, and it was like, just hit 29,000 live streams for the whole stream, like biggest, thing. I'm just like, 29,000 people just hanging out with you.
Oh, watching live.
Guess what? Yeah. And it's like,
who is this? You know who it is?
I don't remember the name. I don't have context of
A
like
celebrity,
whatever.
right? Like
But
someone.
it was like a celebrity gamer on, she had the verified
Okay.
check or some shit,
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
So, and I think one of the entertainers I watched like retweeted her or something like
Right,
that.
right, right. Gotcha.
And so I'm just like, and obviously my, there's a couple layers to my brain. In order, it's usually my sales brain, and which includes like my business model brain or whatever, my marketing brain, and then it goes into like all of the other things like the nuances, the data, the trends, whatever, and how I process information as I see it happen. Name anywhere on social media where first of all, the static version of just getting 29,000 people to do anything, let alone getting 29,000 people to retain for a certain amount of like, it's making Twitter look dumb. And I'm not saying dumb from a perspective, like they're still big and dope platforms. I'm saying dumb from it's not going to work long term. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, unless they make, and you and I said this in the original episode one, like not the new episode one, the original episode one of Procast, where we were saying live streaming is going to be the future, because essentially you're like, we're decentralizing all categorical versions of media publishing and distribution, from news to entertainment to escapism to education, even just how TikTok's breaking stuff down into, like they have the creator fund versus what they're going to do for the educator fund, where they're literally bringing teachers into the platform for the how-to section of TikTok. So it's going to be like For You, it's going to be what's it called? Your page, what's your page, your following page, For You following, and then like how to, or like whatever, I don't know what phrases they'll put up there, but it's going to be the education section. So it can be all the how-to content, right? And they're actually going to essentially be, they're not saying this, but model wise, it's essentially, being like a talent label for educators, right? And allowing, and funding people to help create that type of content to the platform and all that kind of stuff. And then that, obviously, if they make live stream a little bit more sophisticated and whatnot. So just imagine if Spotify eventually adds live stream, because when an artist is doing a release, they allow them to go live, like straight from Spotify, and stream it, because they own the marketplace rights to play it. So it's not like Twitch where, it's going to get shut down or whatever. So I really think anymore, social media was fractional because we didn't understand it. Like we didn't understand what it was going to do, what it meant. Was it for business? Was it for personal? Was it both? Was it for to stay? Are these new platforms just doing it better? And now everybody realized, wait, we're not limited to just doing one thing or one media type or like whatever. And it's not like it was like a realization like they were dumb to it. It's just people, you niche down and hey, this is our media type. TikTok, this is our media type. Instagram, nope, steal that. Now we all do everything. Now we are officially what people like, the Sess and the Garys say of like these are full networks now. They're not just, oh, you post this type of content here, this type of content. Nope, this platform, you do everything you can possibly think of, from writing to audio to visual to live streaming to
I don't think you're ever going to get one that does everything. I mean,
they already are though. I mean, what is Storyfire?
No one fucking knows. That's why no one's heard of it.
Right.
No one fucking knows what Storyfire is. I mean, whether that's going to be anything or not. I mean, you can do everything on all platforms. You can go live on Twitter. I don't know if anyone does anymore. Yeah, I don't think it matters necessarily what actually comes next. I think people are pretty fried.
Yeah. The way I view it is like a high school. Like where it's like you hear that one class down the hallway that's like really, having a pizza party or some shit or whatever. And everybody's like, and it's like, you're either part of the cool part of school or the cool class or the cool section or, down in the band hallway or whatever, or you're just the, the kids that are there, or you're out in the hallway, or you're, whatnot. It's almost like, it's like the cool places to hang out are not social media, which is the hallway. The social media is the hallway. The classrooms are the places where people are outside or whatever.
All right. So tighten up what you were saying. Like, actually in one sentence, what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I think that social media in general is no longer going to be fractional, to where we have 7 different places where like, okay, I'm doing Twitter, I'm doing Instagram, I'm doing this, I'm doing whatever. It's going to be like, no, this is the place I hang out with my people. And all those old things that were social media are not just bulletin boards where I say, hey, come really hang out with me. Because the membership model,
and where are they hanging out with you? On your site?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it could be. I mean, because that's like a custom stack or whatever, depending on what technology you're using. But for the most part, like, I mean, you got to think of like the Twitches and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying the depth of attention. You can tell when there's depth of attention, or if it's just like static, short, pithy attention. And for me, it's like there's a huge difference. We know this from a business. Like if we're not thinking like social marketers and we're thinking like businessmen, would you rather have a audience member, like a qualified lead, spend 4 hours with you, or click like on your tweet? Which one is going to nurture them more, break the barrier of trust, disarm them, get you brand equity, put your, all that,
I would say 10 minutes, it doesn't even have to be 4 hours.
Right.
10 minutes, like 5 minutes. Like if they hop into an Instagram live, they're going to learn a lot more about you by that few minutes in a live stream than, clicking a like on a tweet. People.
And you already behaviorally do it too. I mean, you spend 2 hours with people every day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, I like doing the live. It's discouraging because I feel like the platforms I feel like they don't promote lives because of protection. I feel like it's a default algorithm. I feel like they don't show people live streams because of that, because they can't control it as directly. I feel like that's why when you go live, you don't get notified really. And you definitely don't get any new reach. It's always from a small percentage of people that actively follow you or want your notifications. Right. That way I guess they just increase their chances of having a successful live stream without someone doing, something criminal or, nudity or something that goes against their TOS, for example. Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely going to change though, for sure.
Because everything does.
Yeah. And it's going to go, but it's a different type of change this time, I feel like, because we've been through changes. I mean, it's been so fast too. We're making it seem like, what used to be like, oh, back in my day, when I was it's now like back 5 years ago, there was
in 2016.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and we've already talked about like how the life cycle, that
summer
stuff.
16.
Right. It's like, bro,
do you remember the busker days?
You know what I used to do in summer 16? I would go out, and you already know this, but I used to go out into my little unair conditioning garage with my lighting kit out there and whatever. And I would record like 30, 15-second videos for Instagram because you were only allowed to do 15-second videos. So I would just come up with like 30, topics, points, whatever, go out, bulk record them, then, pull quotes and all that kind of stuff from it, whatever. So they could be the in-between graphics and all that kind of shit. And it's like, that was 16. Where Instagram was just a platform where it was like pictures and 15-second videos. That was 48 months ago.
Yeah.
That 48 months ago, you could only post 15-second videos on Instagram.
48 months, 4 years ago. No, that was Snapchat. I think before.
Snapchat?
I think it was a little bit longer.
Because Instagram did 10, 15, 60.
Snapchat killed Vine when they went to 15, when they did 15-second video.
Yeah. I think Snapchat did a little jump too, because remember for a little bit of time, you and I had a couple of conversations about it. For a little bit there, I don't remember who was who, but Snapchat and Instagram, one was 10 seconds and one was 15 seconds, because you and I kept saying we got so used to the 15 seconds that we got so used to the 10 seconds to where when there was that extra 5 seconds, it was such a large difference because we were so used to stopping at like 9.5 seconds on our videos.
Oh, for Snapchat was what, 12, right? Was it 12?
I don't know. Is that something you can look up?
Yeah, I think something was 12 seconds or something like that. I think maybe Snap was 12 and Instagram did 15, but Snapchat you could go straight through and it would upload like a sequence of 12 seconds. Or was Snapchat 15 and Instagram was 12? No, Instagram is 15. I think they've always been 15 for stories. God, I don't fucking know anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I
don't know how to look at that story. It's all too much, bro. It's like, and anymore people. Thank you. Because anymore, when you give people too many options that don't have identity in controlled environments, and eventually people are just not going to care, and they're just going to just do whatever they want. It's kind of like a dog or kids. You don't give them activities, they're just going to start pissing on shit, dumping toys out, like doing whatever they want to do because there's no infrastructure there. There's no, you're not collaborating with them on the development of what's happening. And I think I think that's the issue. And I actually tweeted this the other day where, and this is a very archaic philosophical type of tweet. So it's, it's a little bit vague, but I was like, we are supposed to, as primal beings essentially or whatever, supposed to take dominion of the earth, but instead we control and take dominion of each other. And it's like, because we would rather control creators and creation and ideas and all that kind of stuff versus like collaborating, like us, like, and it's on every level. It's fractional. Like, I know I use that word a lot. It's like divisive. It's like, if we can't control it, it's not allowed. If we can't control it, it's not allowed. But we're going to tell you have freedom, but if we can't control it in the way we want, so it's like, at some point, like you said, we're just going to ignore your system. Does your money mean anything to us? Does your government mean anything to us? Does your economy mean anything to us? I mean, to a certain point, we have to follow, of course, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's going to be a huge rebellion or anything, or whatever, but at some point, you're just going to stop caring about the thing that's controlling you, just like a kid does in adolescence, 16, 17, the closer you get to that 18, you get a little bit more bold. Like, F you, I'm in 12 months, I'm out of here. In 6 months, in a month, tell me something. In a month, I'm going, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've behaved it. We've seen other kids do it, whatever. So it's just like, how's that going to be any different than, you put more stake on it, you put more gravity on that type of flow or that type of transition. And it's like, of course, eventually people are going to get fatigued. They're going to get tired of following rules and then not benefiting, like you and I have talked about that. I fucking hate it when you actually follow the way somebody says something's supposed to be done, either SEO wise or, optimizing on social media wise or post types, or, the channels themselves will be like, do this type of thing, or, optimize this or use these hashtags or like whatever. And we get real good at the nuances, and you do exactly what is supposed to work on the platform. And like you said, we'll get like, and then other people who are doing the same shit, just not as, sophisticated or witty or funny or entertaining, will just blow up for no reason, and I think a lot of that is backdoor relationships,
I think a lot of it is just manipulation. I think a lot of it is manipulation. I think a lot of it is political bias. I think a lot of it is, there are many more hands in it than they make it out to be. It's like, oh, well, it's the algorithm, it's this. Yeah, well, the algorithm doesn't create itself. Right. So it's bullshit. Of course they're pulling chains. Of course they're pulling levers. That's why accounts get flagged. That's why accounts get banned. That's why things don't get reached, because it's decided. Whether it's the algorithm, well, it's whoever created the algorithm, which is you. It's a nice. It's been a very successful boogeyman campaign. It's been a very successful scapegoat. Right. It's been very successful. Everyone knows that term, the algorithm, and most people don't even know how to define an algorithm. I don't even know, some kind of equation or some kind of like process that leads to a solution, some kind of, preordained, right, formula that leads to some kind of, standardized conclusion. I mean, what's the actual, like, I'll do the Wikipedia or whatever, but people don't even.
It's like it's a progressive way to organize information based off of behavior. But it's going to progressively get more automated because it's half manual, half automated. A process or a set of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations, especially by a computer. So it doesn't have to do. It could be progressive. It's like all fish. What I mean by progressive, all fish live in the sea, but not everything in the sea are fish. So, yeah, I mean, it's a nice word. It's complicated. People don't understand it. No one knows what it is. So you can just blame that. But it's still the people. It's still the people that create it. It's still the people that people are actually banning accounts. People are actually constricting distribution. Yeah. You work hard, you pay for. I mean, think about this from a Google standpoint. You can have organic reach. You can also pay for ads to get that reach. But then you're paying for people for reach. Let's say you're paying for ads. People subscribe to your account, but then again, they don't see your videos. So all this money that you're spending on Google ads, and then they're fucking you again. They're making it like, I don't know if you could boost YouTube ads. I'm sure, who knows what you could fucking do. I'm sure the fact that if you run more ads, would they show your channel, or would they bias more people towards it because you're spending money with them? Like it makes business sense, but is it morally, ethically, like, who makes those decisions?
I don't think you can put these companies in the same category with ethical and moral, bro. I think,
for sure.
If it's a good business decision, that's what they're doing, period, end of story.
Yeah,
So that's just like I guess I'm just more jaded on it. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
I'm just being behind the scenes, and it's very fatiguing, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you don't, if you're going to get frustrated with it and stop and quit. And a lot of people just, oh, it's not working, and they quit. It's like, well, then you don't really have that coherent purpose enough.
Yeah.
But if you're truly into what you're doing, it's going to be something that you do regardless of whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah. And you know this as well as I do, is when we were talking back in the day. So for those of you that know, just 10 seconds, I started in SEO, which is a search engine optimization. So I used to have to study the updates of like what was happening with Google, so that way I can make sure that my clients' sites were getting the appropriate traffic and
Mhm.
ranking for the right things, whatever. So for example, and I'm going to go very archaic here. So like when they came out with like the Penguin algorithm at the time, right, which is essentially for getting rid of malicious, links, like sites that would farm links and have a shit ton of like, clickbaity links and stuff that would, be posted here this way, redirect people a different way or whatever, and then they would get flagged. You get a certain amount of flags. I mean, it's just like the YouTube system, but way more sophisticated. you know, and so anyways, what you would do is you'd have to go in and you have to remove the malicious links. You have to re-index the site. You'd have to run another, all this kind of stuff. Right. And then what would happen is they would review it. But again, those things would be rolled, to your point, they're rolled out with an intended initiative. Hey, we're going to roll out the Penguin algorithm to specifically attack sites that misuse links, but you're always going to have cross-pollination of people who are maybe using a strategy like that but not doing it maliciously, but the algorithm doesn't know the difference. So then you multiply that by tens of thousands of sites and tens of thousands of people, like and so it's half machine learning, half human learning. You're learning the human behavior and then telling the machine these are the zeros and ones you need to watch that equal that type of behavior or whatever. And then you have to have some type of a manual review process for some of this, because they're not going to be 100% accurate. There's always going to be a unique case. There's always going to be something like, for example, you are a very, I hate using the word vulgar because it's not, it's subjective, what vulgar is and all that kind of stuff. I think it's hilarious, but because I actually know you and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, there's other people who are vulgar, but they don't have good intentions. How can an algorithm tell the difference between the two? It can't. Only a human can. But a human is going to be somewhat biased, right? And what affects a human's bias? A lot of things: who they report to, what position they're in, how it's benefiting the company that they're working for, how it's going to benefit them specifically, if it's a person they're in a relationship with, if there's so many things. So it's like,
yep.
What is right and what's wrong, what's flawed and what's not flawed? Is the machine right? Is the human right? Is it actually better that the machine was a little bit less, biased, because even though it was less accurate but less biased, or more accurate but more biased? Like where does it go?
Yeah, you know what? Just I wanted to, while you were talking, I was looking up to see if there's any news on the purchase, just checking it out, and I forgot I did this on I think I did this on the Papa Swolio channel. I was going to cover it in Ignite too, but we can cover it not Ignite, Impact. Did you hear about the suicide video on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook?
No.
Yeah, so TikTok and Facebook the titles are racing to stop the spread of a gruesome video. So someone committed suicide, I think, on one of the live streams. Someone committed suicide, and then how people, they download the video, people have been like re-uploading it, people have been doing I don't know what they call it. I don't know if they put a video here, but when people make those meme or those trick videos where you're watching like a puppy play with a kitten, and all of a sudden you see a demon, it screams in your face and it scares, like those like surprise videos. So people are doing that. They're making videos where it's like something else, and all of a sudden you see the guy like
right in the middle of the, yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but I remember like looking up for news earlier. I saw that. So that's been like, people have been posting on Facebook and TikTok. So they're like, they're probably, there's overtime, like deleting it every last second. And someone was saying that, like I guess some mother was talking about like her 11-year-old, and I think that's something that's going to change. I think that's one of the reasons why TikTok is so addicting. But one thing that they're probably going to change, especially if the United States or someone purchases it, the fact that when you open up the app, it just starts fucking you with content immediately. So here's the thing. So someone was saying like her 11-year-old opened up the app to see a suicide, like a real fucking, like, dude, and the kid was disturbed. Yeah. You mean scarred for life. Like you're not going to forget that. That's the kind of thing you never forget.
Yeah.
Like like when you're 11 or something, like that's going to imprint. You'll always be able to remember that image, or at least that feeling. That's something that changes you.
Yeah.
Even whether you understand it or not, like your DNA understands it. You might not understand what you saw as an 11-year-old, but that's why childhood trauma stays with you, because you're like your body, like people, your biology knows. So yeah, that's crazy, man. But I'm saying, like, that's.
You said something really smart though. There, I don't know if you read that or that was.
Of course I did. It's a fucking Tuesday, son.
Tuesday Swole.
Tuesday.
But the
Tuesday.
thing about like protecting.
Last night was like Tuesday.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday, Tuesday.
Continue about my
about
smart
your intelligence, the sophistication of it.
Tell me.
My favorite Swole compliment is astute observation, my friend.
An astute observation, my friend. Like this. Righto.
Yeah. Cheerios. Take a little sip.
Mine's water.
What are you drinking? Oh, yours is water. I got single origin coffee from Aldi. If y'all have an Aldi next to you, get their single origin coffee. Comes in a white bag with
like Aldi, like ALDI.
Yeah.
I thought they said Audi. I'm like, oh, they're making the car company. Oh shit.
That would be kind of sick if they made like micro batch roasted coffee that they gave with the purchase of a car or something. Dude,
what if you did like a car company could? What if you had Mercedes coffee?
Yeah, bro.
Just had like the fucking that symbol on the front, or BMW, or
just immediately take Starbucks out of business in like 12 months.
Honda Dark Roast.
Yeah. Tesla coffee.
Bro, I mean, it's just a logo,
I gotta
man.
Compliment you still, I think.
I'm waiting for it. I'm eager.
But you were like, your observation of the immediacy of playing without preference. Like when you open the app and it automatically plays. It's not giving you a preference, it's assuming your preference. You know what I'm saying?
Where it's saying, look at this.
Yeah.
It's directing you to look at this.
It's essentially saying, you'll probably like this, but I didn't get to make it's not like TV. I didn't click that button.
How many times have you opened it up to see Charlie doing or like an ad? It's like, no, get out of here,
and
Mr.
they need to make it more
enough of that shit.
Jesus. They need to make it more clear to, like, you know how you can press and hold on something you're seeing on your thing. You know, almost every platform, but staying on TikTok, where you press and hold and it gives you 3 options and one of them is not interested. They need to make that shit more apparent. Like it needs to be already on the screen, like in top right or something, to where there's like maybe just a white circle with an X.
Like when they show you a video, like, do you like this kind of content? Or
right. Yeah. Like if I open TikTok right now and I press and hold on a video, it will give.
Yeah, but my point is, well, you can customize. Well, that could be cool. You can customize your For You page. There might be an option eventually. Like I think they'll probably do that wouldn't they probably do that in the settings? Like open up your phone, maybe like start with the For You page.
Yeah. So you see how that box popped up in the middle?
I've never tried that ever.
So if you open the
3D
app,
press, I've never done that ever.
Yeah, well, it's not 3D press anymore. They got rid of that in iOS.
Or it's like a long hold or something.
Yep, and it's
like when you save a picture on your phone or something, you hold down on it. Okay.
Yep, and it's the 4 options are save video, add to favorites, not interested, and not interested has like a drop down, and then it says report. That usually like. Who would know that exists? I mean, even just what happened right now in real time. You were like, wait, what did you do? Did you long press? Did you hold? Did you?
I didn't. I only have 400,000 followers on TikTok. I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying. And this is how they get away with it. They put it in the fine print as you sign up for the app, and then they hide all of these features. And it's just like, of course, something's going to eventually happen. You know?
Well, it's like TikTok. It's like Instagram. You have to like. If you follow someone, you have to see what they post. I think that's ridiculous. You should be able to customize it just like Facebook. Just because I follow someone and support them doesn't mean I want to be eye-fucked by every time they, they walk their dog or every time they take a shit or they have lunch. I don't want to see their picture or their vacation. I don't know. The more I use social media, the more I don't use it. Like I've been really unplugged from it. I haven't been posting as often on a bunch of my platforms. Like I'm kind of stepping back, but I'm trying to come back in and look at this a little bit differently because, everything that I do is a long play. We've talked about that since the beginning. Everything I do is a long play, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but whatever is going on right now, this kind of lull or quiet, I think it's just like I see it, I feel it, but I don't like it, but I can't really figure out exactly what it is. So I think I have this kind of like anxious energy that I don't know where to, because I don't know exactly. So I'm just kind of like brooding about it because I just don't see what exactly is going on. I see more hardcore manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting worse. And I think, yeah.
You can smell a snake, bro. Like for real. Like it's one of those things where it's not hard, especially if you're a type of person. Nobody's perfect. Like everybody could get canceled if you knew what people have been through. But it's like one of those things where it's like if you have half of a level head, you can see when something's distorted or manipulated or controlled and all that kind of stuff. And what I was gonna say when you were right then, as I was gonna say, I was gonna give you a second compliment because you started that phrase with we'll title the episode
Let's fucking
Swole
go.
compliments.
Let's fucking go.
But
my favorite episodes.
I've watched and I truly mean this, and I need especially the Swole fam to hear this. I have been around a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And rightfully so. I've been a marketer for a long time. You know, I was the little whiz kid blowing up on Instagram and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. You know, in my respective niches, it's not like I was known and all that kind of stuff. But like people who have PhDs and, you know, large businesses, and I'm talking $50-100 million businesses, healthcare, manufacturing, like they would rely on me to help with their marketing and advertising infrastructure. And I've seen everything from that level all the way down to startups, and very few people have your level of like finger on the wind and intuition. You know, everybody calls it something: intuition, discernment, like knowledge, like, you know, I'm trying to think of the words people use in the business world.
The way you said, I got this Ty Lopez knowledge. Like the way you said it, because I just saw a video tearing him apart in a video. So just that's why I laugh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue. Yeah.
And so, but you haven't been perfect. It's not like you're out here making mistakes, but you haven't been perfect from the standpoint of there's probably a couple of things you would have been like, oh, if I knew that, I would have done it differently. But like one thing that you've been like stellar at, as I've watched other people just, you know, plow through the fucking China shop, is when you can feel the wind shift or whatever, you have the wherewithal to be like, okay, I know it's not fun or comfortable. And it's like you just said, I have a little bit of anxious energy, don't know where to put it. Instead of just plowing through the China shop, I'm going to put my finger to the wind and really see what's going on. And I don't have to like actually tell you, you know, events that have happened in regards to where you've had the intuition to do that. But it's like it's so funny. It's because, you know, from my vantage point is I'm seeing multiple people, you know, at different levels do stuff. I'm seeing one person do this and one person do this and one person, and you're always like,
Yeah, it's like I'm walking into a clearing and I'm like, well, this doesn't look normal.
Yeah.
This is sketchy as fuck. Why is there
like if this was 6,000 years ago, you'd be the dude I would follow, because I'd be like, okay, this guy uses ship sails the right way. You know,
it's a little bit quiet over here. It's a little bit. I smell something. That breeze is a little bit.
Yeah, I smell some downwind.
I smell some funk.
Art.
Yeah,
there's another tribe somewhere. I don't like this art.
Yeah.
Well, I can feel it too, man. I mean, we've both been in the social game for a while, and everything's so accelerated. And if you have half a brain, let alone the systems in the back end like we do to see actual trends across different brands, different platforms, whatever, it's not hard to see. It's just hard to define. Like, what is it and why is it happening?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's hard to define. You know, in terms of like, okay, what's the king of social media? I still think it's YouTube. I still think YouTube is the cornerstone, because YouTube, or just like Google in general, Google and the internet, Facebook, Instagram. I just feel like more now I think it's just the overall, I think it's where apps are and people's, how about this? This is probably actually a better definition of it. It's not so much that the apps have matured. It's that the public has matured. It's not so much that there's a TikTok. Okay, TikTok is a new thing. Instagram's a new thing. No, it's not. It's just the fact that you have double or triple or quadruple or 10x the amount of people 2 or 3 years ago. That, I mean, how many people, think about this, how many people 4 years ago, 2016 is when we first started smashing, right? That's when Busker was still a possibility. That's when Snapchat Snapchat existed. Like that's when Snapchat was like popping off, right?
Right.
How many people were making content? How many people used the word content?
Right.
No one. Very few people talked about the word content.
Right.
Now everyone, when they compliment you, like, oh, dude, I love your content. That's actually, that's commonplace. No one called it, oh, your post or your Instagram. People didn't know Facebook owns Instagram. They still don't, but more people do.
Yep.
More people are aware of these situations. More people than ever are aware. They have the hardware to create. They know how to create. All the apps are biasing and making all their updates to create faster and easier. Even YouTube has their own shitty story feature, but YouTube has it. You can go live from your phone. You can multi-stream from your phone. All these other apps like Restream and StreamYard and all these different places make it so you could do it from your phone. Everything is more mobile optimized than ever. More apps are out there than ever. Mobile gaming is better than ever. Twitch, you can do Twitch mobile from your phone. People know how to do TikTok because they've been on Snapchat. Now they've been on Instagram stories. Now they're going back to Reels or, back and forth. People are now almost ahead of the apps where they are.
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, what's next? And the apps can't keep up. So people are just like, the apps are filling up quicker. So before it was the app, Facebook took 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram took 6 years. Musically, TikTok took, we'll call it like 3 years because it was 2016, but TikTok. It was like
2-3 each. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You see how that's exponentially, it's peaking a lot faster, but it's not necessarily that the apps are any different. The apps are better. People are just like, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yep.
You can see, you can hear, you can taste, you can feel, right? So like you have your senses.
Yep.
And you can only do so much through a phone. Okay. You can already do live streaming. Okay. You can already do, so now it's like gamification. That's why you have like the likes and the followers. That's why you have, oh, you're donating in the live chat and the, join my team and join my Discord and interact. That's why it might go back. If anything, it's going to come back to the individual and it's going to come back to a live stream because the content, just like I said on TikTok, what was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was going to happen on TikTok? Oh, the dancing's cute and all that stuff's cute. And all like the filming on the fly is cute. And then what's going to take over? Then all of a sudden you're going to have the quality because then that's going to be different. Then it's going to be like, ooh, more immersive content on TikTok.
Yeah.
Just things are going faster because people are better at creating. It's more accessible and more affordable to get a camera. It's more known how to use iMovie. Not like the phones are getting better. People know how to video edit. People know Photoshop. People don't even talk about filters in Photoshop. People just do it. It's ubiquitous. It's understood.
Yeah.
That's why I was laughing the other day when they were blaming, or the politicians that were blaming the Trump campaign for doctoring a Biden video to make him look older. I'm like, one, he's old as fuck and he's barely lucid.
Yeah.
And two, if you know anything about creating content, and it got me thinking, what actually defines doctoring a picture? Because you and I both know if you use a Sony camera or a Canon, even the highest quality, it's going to look
difference in quality. Yep.
It's going to look different. Does that mean it's doctored? I mean, that's not a filter. That's a different camera. Right. So it's not doctored, but you can use one to make someone look better or worse.
Right.
You give them Sony color with the wrong picture profile versus Canon, and it's not doctored. It's just a shitty, it could be just be straight out of the camera.
Yeah.
So in the lighting, you have it's not the equipment. You could have a professional photographer with an iPhone take better pictures than someone with a full frame.
Right.
So the lighting, like what's doctored? You could put a filter, but you could also do shitty lighting and make someone look like crap. So it's like,
what's the difference between analog doctored and digitally doctored, or the combination of both?
Boom.
So
I thought that was interesting. It's like, well, shit. Like I've had the same camera and my pictures, my video just keep getting better. It's like, oh, I need the lighting here. Oh, that makes a big difference. Oh, that. And then, like we talked about,
which also gets your eye better for even natural moments when you don't have light. Like where to face, what to put behind you. Even today, I was I looked at one of those TikToks that was like tutorials. Hey, here's how you remove a background and do this, click this, add this mask, whatever. And it's so funny. And I almost commented. Fast. I've been doing this thing lately where like I'll type a whole comment. And I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm like, I don't even care to like engage, oh yeah. But anyways, the punchline, I was like, the comment was going to be, you can do this on your phone with Snapseed, like, or with some of these apps. I'm like, you can remove objects, you can like, you can do almost anything with just apps anymore, because you're essentially, it's only the intake and the outtake of whatever the hardware can process. So if the hardware's taking it and processing it, then it's going to be, it's a little bit different when it's like you're taking externally, generated media and putting it through the processing of a device that can only compute so much. It's another thing when the ability to create media asset is starting to match that higher quality or whatever, and the software can actually process it digitally. So it's like, essentially you can do all the same stuff. Just, again, it's like everything is just going like this, I don't even know how you would define it, because I feel like now we're getting to the two realms of, I just don't, I don't understand this stuff. Like, I don't understand how to classify it or put language to it. I just know it's like, it's almost like watching an ant farm. It's very similar to what we said earlier. It's like, it's easy to see, it's hard to define. It's like, why are they doing that pattern? Like, I can clearly see they're all going to the effing left, but why? Like, what does that mean for them? What is that? It's the same thing of like social. Okay, I can see it. Like, I can see I can see what's happening. I can see the huge shift. I can see this change or whatever. But what? Why? When? How's it going to work? What's it like? Is it going to change anything? Is it going to matter? That's where I start getting like, in the high and lofty, and I just stop caring. I'm like, just, and that's what
you mean with the apps. You mean like what you mean with apps, like when YouTube and stuff, like Facebook and shit like that. Yeah. Yep. Like where they're going with it. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it from a fundamental standpoint, and it's the most obvious thing, but usually the obvious or the basics, people overlook it or they don't give enough credit for it. I mean, it's a business. If Facebook makes money, they're fine. If YouTube makes money and Google makes money, it's fine. As long as they make money, they're going to go in that direction, right? As long as they make money, they're going to keep on going. They're going to keep on pushing. They're going to keep on doing whatever makes them money. Of course, you want to be viewed properly in the public, because if you get viewed properly in the public eye, you're going to make more money. People are going to watch it more. Yeah. I've noticed different adjustments. I saw this, bro. I don't think we talked about it. I saw this pop up in my YouTube app, and I was so frustrated because I couldn't create it. And I know I hit like one little node and I accidentally refreshed the screen and it went away. Like when you see a new update, right? And your app changes and you're like, and then you go somewhere else and you come back and it's gone. You're like, no, like everyone else is probably like, oh, that was weird. I'm like, fuck, I missed it. I just saw a window, like they tested it and I didn't get a chance to really flesh it out. So I saw this. I don't know if you noticed this, but you know how when you go on YouTube and they move the comments, right? They accordioned the comments. So now it funnels you into another video. Yeah. Okay. Yep. The other day,
and I was funny thing. Don't forget, I know that because I watch your content, so I click the comment section.
Right. So I watch comments too, but like right under that, there's more thumbnails, right, of related videos. They put it down there, so you just go right into it. You miss the comments. They used to have it expanded, but now you have to look for the description. They want you to get into the next video. Very TikTok like. Yesterday or the day before, I was on YouTube and I was watching. I think I was on one account watching a video on another account. Like I was on the Swolenormous Pro account, but I was watching a Daily Swole Extra Thirsty or something. So it was like I was watching a video, but I was watching my own content. Yeah. Underneath, it was a list of videos, but the title, it wasn't a thumbnail. It was like the avatar of the channel and the title. It looked like comments, but it was a list of videos. Okay. And I was just talking to my team, talking about how the thumbnails need to be more clickbait and more complementary to the title. The title is everything. Let the title be the SEO. Let the title be the search. Let people make the thumbnail, make people look to the title from the thumbnail. Yep. Like people pay attention to the title. It matters. It's not just for YouTube search. Like people look at the title. Yep. So it has to complement. You need to make it so it's descriptive, but some channels can get away with putting the whole title in the thumbnail and just making it more text or making it more, I think for the most part, you want it to be something that draws attention, like an arrow, like an emoji, something emotional, right? Something that gives you that visual 1,000 words. A picture says 1,000 words. You want your thumbnail to say 10,000 and confuse the hell out of you to get you to click, kind of thing. Right. So I saw that update and then I forget if I clicked, I saw it like fleeting and I was already doing something else and I noticed it and then I went back and I haven't seen it since, but I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
because it was like they accordion, so you could see more titles.
It's very Google-esque.
Yeah, it was like it was very much like comments. It looked like comments, but I noticed that they weren't comments, there were titles.
Yeah.
And then I saw the avatar or the logo. I think either the thumbnail was compressed to a little circle, like avatar-ish, like maybe they compressed it or gave it like a little, like a peephole type thing, or
Yeah.
it was the avatar of the channel. I couldn't tell. But it was very interesting because if you think about it, when you think about it from this standpoint, when you're in the comments and you see avatars, sometimes you see the initials, right? SL.
Yep.
It's like the standard Google account, right? Google Plus account, right? It might say, PS or something like that. But then you'll see an avatar. And if you're in the community, like people that are on YouTube that watch the Daily Swole, you're gonna notice people's avatar. You'll be like, oh, John's here. And you'll notice when people change it, when you see regulars.
Yep.
If you are looking at that in terms of related videos, what's going to be really attractive, seeing a title and seeing the Swolenormous logo or seeing the logo, because if you follow a channel, not just someone commenting, but channel avatars are very noticeable.
Yep.
When
yours are pristine, bro. Beautiful.
Right. But when you follow a channel, their avatar. And most people on YouTube don't change their avatar. Like you have an avatar, if you make content, it's usually your logo or your thing. And maybe you change it once in a couple years, right? You might, hey, we updated it. But that's usually if someone has like their picture, they don't really have a brand. Like they have a personal brand.
Right.
Like for me, I have like, that's the Papa Swole, the logo, but it's a Swolenormous logo. It's different. But if you have King Darius brand, it might just be your face. And then maybe you update it. It's a different face, but it's you.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, essentially my logo is me, right. So yeah. So I noticed
right
that.
now I'm just using like a yellow background cartoon version of me on.
So it's like you scroll down and you see, it looks like almost like it almost looked like comments.
Yeah.
From the channels that you follow, and it's like, oh shit, it's almost
that intrigues me. Like
it's almost, what it looked like? It looked like a real news feed, like a ticker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have not seen it since, and I'm starting to wonder if I imagined things, and I don't think I did. I wonder if I was
imagine the way that
I wonder if it was function. I'm not sure if it was 5 a.m. I'm not sure if I don't know, but it was cool. I'm not sure if it would do well, because I don't recall it looking like.
Right.
But people figure it out.
It would be interesting if we'll
see it if it works.
I was just saying, like, if it works, if it shows up, if they roll it out, but let's entertain and just pretend it's coming. It would be interesting to see how they separate that from the other YouTube channel. Like maybe those ones, like maybe that's where, like in that section is where you see related from the channel you're watching, but related on the right is like other channels that are similar.
It was on mobile. So when you're watching the video, you have the comments, but you have to expand it. It was exactly where, bro. It was exactly where you would find.
Was it at the bottom or like the top?
No, when you scroll, you see just thumbnails, like recommended videos or recommended for you. It was like that. It was just a little circle avatar or the thumbnail circle, and then the title of the video. And it was just a list form rather than the big thumbnail.
I'm gonna look up one.
No, you're not gonna see that shit. God damn it, you're not gonna see that shit. Let's watch a video.
Oh, I already have Daily Swole. Nice.
Damn straight. Welcome every single day. Every single day.
All right, Soul fan, what you think? BMI scale is wrong, or Wally hates you? Let's go. Wally hates you because you're fat, obviously.
No, I still got the thumbnails.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm getting thumbnails. Oh wait, I'm getting thumbnail. Oh no. Okay, that was different.
Yeah, I'm getting thumbs.
I got thumbnails and stories. That's it. Although, whoa. This is the first time I'm seeing this. Hold on.
No way, bro. No way. Is this a joke?
This is the first time I'm seeing
this.
No,
wait. This has got to be a joke. I just saw a title that says Colin Kaepernick nominated for the Hall of Fame. Get the no way. For what? Are you serious? What, for taking a knee?
So is that
shame?
That's so diplomatic.
No, I refuse to entertain that. I did a video.
You may already know this exists, but what about this?
Did.
What about this top bar here? Hold on. See that top bar where it says all? Like I can click those things. It says related from the Daily Swole, live and recently uploaded, and you can scroll sideways.
What do you mean, the stories?
No, this right here.
Where is that?
It's like as you're here. Let me screenshot it and send it to you so you can see it.
Are you under a video?
Yeah, I'm under your
Oh,
Wally Hates
all
You.
related from the Daily Swole Live.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool feature. I like that.
Oh, it slides.
Yeah, I
Oh
like that a
shit.
lot. That's the first time I've seen that.
Oh,
That's pretty damn cool, huh?
oh. You know what? I don't think I ever live. Oh shit! It shows you who's live.
That's pretty, but I think it's all related to you, though.
Well,
Is it, at least for me?
I'm seeing channels I've never watched live. I've never even heard of these channels.
Let me
There's
see
only
if it
two of
shows
them.
up on Papa Swolio too. So
So when you scroll down a little bit, it pops up.
yep,
Recently uploaded.
it is based off of the channel because if you go to Papa Swolio, it only has 3 options, all related and recently uploaded because you don't go live there. You don't like.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
You know
Oh yeah,
what,
but related is still just the related.
bro? Honestly, I think, and that the Papa Swolio channel, I love, man. I love that channel.
It looks great. You know,
I just like talking about stuff
how long
that's.
has this Joker been doing this? Let me see.
I just love having the. I just love having the place to. I just love having the place to talk about all the bullshit, just news in general, just to talk about whatever I want.
Yeah,
I like having like that kind of space. I mean, there could absolutely be live streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've had
well,
people.
one thing I would
ask
say, because I don't think we've had. No, go ahead. You said you've had people ask for what?
I've had people mention or ask. Ask for like longer episodes, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's cool. I mean, it's
I was just gonna say something related to that. Of like, I feel like your new style of content is less about entertainment and more about trust. Like you are a trusted voice. Like so for me. Even hearing like so it may be a little bit more like let's call it boring for you or something like that because you're used to DWGs and pre-workout and bone broth and screaming at the camera, but like the way I've been texting you about
a good point. Yeah,
I've found myself watching you the more mature version of the content, like longer, meaning like because when I'm watching your entertainment content I have to be focused to like catch all of the energy, the punch in moments, the like whatever. But when you're talking sophisticatedly about something that's going on, you are actually becoming a more trusted source than even like I'll be scrolling on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, mainly. Well, let me be honest, it'll be Instagram. I don't do Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes TikTok because I'm starting to get annoyed with TikTok. But anyways, you hear other people doing news and it's all anxiety and you hear you doing news. There's so many aspects to it, right? Because let me pretend I'm somebody who's known you for a while. Well, I don't have to pretend. I've known you for a while. If I'm viewing, from that hat, it's like, okay,
pretend we know each other.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Yeah.
If I'm viewing from that hat, it's like, okay, this dude is very dynamic, is very diverse. And it's not like he's talking about stuff that is outside of your care expertise. Like, I mean, granted, like it's not like about everything, like, just in general, but how to position it from a I don't know if I can't put my finger on it, like if it's unbiased, if it's unbiased but like intelligently thought through. It's probably all of those things. Now if I'm wearing my hat of somebody who doesn't know you, I'm like, this dude is intelligent as shit, like that, like because you're talking about the same thing that I'm hearing from news sources and stuff, but you're giving like this infusion of essentially that I just found language for it. Okay. It's the 7 pillars of Swole backing what you're saying without you having to say them. So it's almost like you're behaving the pillars through each individual categorical content. So like versus telling the news from like anxiety and fear based and urgency and click this or like whatever, you're telling it from like, hey, what does it like if I could resolve? That's the word. I feel like the trust that you provide through your content comes through the resolve you have because you know what your pillars are. So because you have a firm foundation, which is normal to you, because it's very abnormal for people to be stable, healthily, mentally stable, physically, all that kind of stuff. So like we feel as an audience your stability and who you are through the resolve you have on how you talk about things.
You mean like consistency? Like I'm very consistent with the message or who I am?
But resolve is like you're so sure. Like you're so sure of who, like you can talk about something that's trendy or whatever the F, but you're talking it through your resolve. And not enough people do that. They talk about it through what they think people will like the opinion of, or what they think people will find entertaining, or what they think people will find you talk about it from your resolve, regardless of what anybody else is saying.
Would you say that's like authenticity? Is that another way to say what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, I think it can be a version of it, but I think there's authentic people who don't have a resolve, because resolve to me is authenticity with confidence is what resolve is, in my opinion. Actually, let's look up the definition.
All right. So what you're saying is I'm being me, but I'm also delivering it in a way that's very like passionate.
Secure almost. Settle or find a solution to problem, dispute. No, decide. Oh yeah, decide firmly on a course of action is more so of like the definition is like
have a strong resolve.
It's almost like you've already predetermined your course of action. Like, this is how I view it, but I'm still telling it unbiased because I'm not superimposing my resolve, but you can feel my resolve. I'm not shaken by this. I'm providing it for you.
Yeah. Okay. So from my, I'm trying to like correlate that with my personal mindset, because I'm definitely super biased. I mean, I have an opinion, right? So like I'm biased from the point of like, I think this is bullshit. I don't think people should be, like let's just take, for example, like the peaceful protesters. Like, I don't think a car dealership or like, people harassing, I don't think that's peaceful, right? That's exactly the opposite of peaceful. So for example, I'll have an opinion on that, but at the same time, the intent of what the reason why I'm saying that is not to create more divide, like you're a fucking idiot, you're wrong. It's how do we literally resolve, like not to reuse that word in a different way, but my goal is not I hate black people or I hate Asian people or, red versus blue. Like for me, for a fact, a lot of people look at my content, they see white beard flags. He must be a Trumper, right? I must be a hardcore Republican. And it's like,
must have a hidden Confederate flag somewhere. You must.
I mean, it's like for me, like that's an irrelevant portion. I'm looking at this from a chess piece standpoint. I'm also looking at this from an individual issue. Like you asked me about, I'm going to have a different view on, let's say, abortion than, I look at the individual things. I don't just vote one direction. Like I've never liked that approach to politics. Like, oh, this is my team.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
I don't, right. So, I mean, it's always about like the real underlying situation. So like I'll go hard on a topic or I'll, talk about how I think, and I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm always listening to, different sources that are going to give like conflicting information so I can get the tidbits of truth. I can watch a video that shows a longer video and someone's opinion, someone's breakdown, that's a lawyer, that's an ex-cop or someone that actually knows about what's going on. And also it's that authenticity or that integrity to talk about what I know about.
Right.
And not to talk about shit that I don't know. And if I don't know, I mention it's like, well, there's laws that people react to things without having all the information.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to react to something without having all the information. I might act based on the information I have, but I'll be clear about the limitations of that knowledge.
Yep.
And most people think that everyone has to know everything all the time. Everyone has to know what your feelings are, what your offenses are, what your sensitivities are, that change from a day to day. There's just so much, it's like a moving target all the time. So like when I talk about that kind of content, which is why I enjoy it, it's because it's polarizing. It's because it's trending. It's because it does really matter. And I mean, I guess I'm confident. I feel the way I feel. I know why I feel that way. And I'm just sharing it. So
like if y'all go listen, I may be speaking wrong, but I feel like one recent one I watched is when you talked about maybe the Joe Rogan one, because I think you talked about it, but then
the Spotify thing.
Yeah, because you had a point, what you just said, where you kind of behaved it in that video where you talked about like, I mean, you didn't say directly, but you said something to the effect of like, I don't know, like what it's like to have 50 million or 100 million dollars. Like, I'm not saying is this like you add the disclaimer of like, I'm not taking
maybe I would take it like, I mean, if you say $100 million to go with Spotify, I'd be like, how do you fucking say no to that? Honestly, how do you really say no to that? But even any, I mean, aside anything under 5, maybe no, but anything over 5, I'd be like, oh man, I don't know, but yeah, so I think for obviously those listening, just go listen. I mean, you guys already do listen to all of this stuff, but it's like, try to feel the resolve, because I think more creators need to have a resolve, because it goes a lot in line with the conversation that we had about,
people not knowing their identity. You don't have a resolve when you don't know your identity, because you're taking everybody else's
shaky ground, man.
Shaky
you don't
ground.
exactly.
Yep.
And
so it's almost like if you're in a boat and that is secure as shit, that it's built pristine. It's almost like,
sure.
You were on the Titanic before it hit the iceberg. You had to resolve that you're out on the sea and nothing can touch you, right?
It's the strongest boat ever built, right?
Right. And so, but I think more people, if you would just be confident in your stance on something while respecting that there are other stances or whatever, and not needing to be shaken by it, like operating and creating out of that resolve is like a very important piece of creating. I know I'm a marketer. I know marketers can be sleazy. They can be, everything from affiliate marketing to the FBA crap to the Ty Lopez type crap to, info marketing. Like a lot of that style of marketing is like, I stay away from, but like, I understand that when people think of a marketer advertiser, they think of a person who's just, sleazy or like whatever the case may be. But how I separate myself, and I always have separated myself, is I have a resolve about how I use marketing. And I always lead with that resolve. I always lead with the context of it. And I story tell through the lens of my resolve about how you use marketing, which is why I have frameworks, which is why I have ways of doing things. And I'm not just trying to like copy the way other people are doing things and stuff like that too. And again, I'm not saying I'm the best at what I do or whatever. I'm saying I'm the best at being me and not caring if there's other of course I consume information very similar to you, but I have blinders on, and that character, came from you. Like that behavioral principle came for you of like, you're the only friend I need. Everything else is luxury. Like from a standpoint of like, we share so many commonalities from media interests to our resolve on things to not, even more recently drive and hustle at a new level, because you've talked me into new levels of that and commitment and all that kind of stuff. So it's just like there's, I know I'm kind of bantering and going back, left and right or whatever, but I think you have that figured out, that mechanism of resolve, and everything else, like how you lead your team, your relationship with Mama Swolio, like all of it has that level of, okay, this is my truth and I'm going to optimize my truth over time, but I'm not going to change the nucleus of my truth, and I think that's more people need that.
I feel like my blinders are just so it's such a narrow field of vision, man. It's a really narrow field of vision. I think it's also, to your point, and I appreciate the sentiments, it's knowing what I know and going so hard on that. But I'm not afraid to talk about stuff I don't know about.
Right.
I'm sharing my opinions. I think people respect and find it refreshing when someone is talking about things, just anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people like your product or your brand or your content is really like, and this is like, they're going to take it down a different direction too. We're going to expand on this because it's something that I want to bring up next, and it ties in nicely. What you're saying, like this style of content, not necessarily the overproduced stuff, because obviously, a lot of aspects of the overproduced, I don't even know what you want to, it's so hard to call it overproduced or underproduced, just different types of footage.
Right.
Doesn't get as much traction. Like there's a lot of things that got shut down. There's a lot of things that are, you put in X amount of effort and you're not getting the same kind of response, whether it's the algorithm, whether it's X, Y, and Z. I've pivoted a few things, but I've realized, and I've gone all in on creating content based on me, the things that I'm interested in, like like this. I love doing this. I love doing the Swolenormous the PROCAST sessions. I also like talking about some other issues. So I created impact. So I have that avenue. Am I going to be posting 10 videos a day? No, but I have a place to post things when I want to post them.
Yep.
Plus it fills in the gaps between, like when we do the full sessions, we have the highlights, and we always, talk outside of this as well. But, to have these other avenues, what's really the content? And it's funny that you mentioned, having these kind of long form. It's almost like having a long form conversation. Like each of my videos are almost like podcasts without them being podcasts. They're videos that you don't have to watch, which is actually something that I've considered in making them. So obviously, let's say a Papa Swolio video or an impact video. Do you have to watch it?
Right.
Like, do you have to have your eyes on the screen?
Nope, I don't even have the time. I'll
You
like
don't
turn
like
it
what
on
is
in the
it?
morning.
It's
Yep.
it's an article. I'm in the corner. You can look at me if you want to look at me. You could look at the article if you want, or you just listen. I'm reading it anyway.
Or wait for your cue points. Like if you say, oh, and if we read here, I'm like, I look down or stop brushing my teeth and
Well, or I'll highlight something or I'll bring it up. So I'm talking. So it gives people the ability to watch, but why do you need to see me in a full screen, me moving my hands and stuff like that? It's just not the same kind of thing. You can read, you can listen, you can like watch me, you can look at the screen and read it for yourself. It just makes it more dynamic. It's like a streaming. It's like a live stream, but it's a video, it's a topic. It could be longer, it could be different. Like I do the Daily Swole podcast. A lot of times I'm in the corner reading Swole fan posts and stuff like that. It's actually, I don't want to talk about it here because depending on when it's released, but I have a new type of show. We got to talk about like a new
we'll
style
smash afterwards.
a new style of video that I'm going to do that's in the same type of vein that's going to, capitalize on the content that I was doing before, but makes it more efficient and makes it an easier output and gives people the same value, if not more, because I'll be doing more of it.
Yeah.
So it's really right now I'm trying to shift all aspects of all channels to cover the different aspects of me as a person, the content I like to do, and not focusing so much on all the editing, all the experience aspect of it, making it more about the content itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I worded that properly, but it's
the more
I don't know if
I think it's very valuable though. Like how you're going about it.
Did that make sense? Did that make sense at all?
To me it makes sense because to me what I heard from there,
talking to you, so
if I had right, if I had to pull a punchline from it, it's like, you essentially, I don't even know. For example, if you put a plate on the table for dinner, even if you're not going to have a full 3-course moment with like, a meat, a vegetable, like whatever, it's like, you're not going to break the plate in half, only put a half a plate there just because you're only, or whatever. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are working on, half baked or half built foundations. So when they do want to execute on something, they're running into a lot of layers of what they would have to do to even get to the publishing and release point. What you've been able to do is essentially unlock all of the doors, turn all the faucets on, all of that kind of stuff, to where you still have separation, you still have clarity, you still have cohesion. But if you need to pull a lever, if you need to pull a trigger, and now granted, a lot of this stuff is new in its maturity because it's like you've only been doing that version of editorial for like a month now or so, maybe 2. I mean, you've always been doing heavy content, but like in regards to all the separate channels with categorical, visuals and content base and all that kind of stuff.
Splitting it from different category base.
Yeah. And it's like, and I'm sure that's taking a lot of energy and sophistication and all that kind of stuff on your end, time investment, money investment, all that kind of stuff to provide that much categorical value, as well as paying attention to how that's affecting the future of what you're doing and stuff like that. I think, you're going to feel that long-term, to your point, 2 or 3 rants ago for you, where it's like, you think long-term all of the time. And sometimes when you live in the vein of thinking long-term, you're doing it so long-term that your short-term is thinking long-term to where you almost forget why it's so beneficial. And it's like, what I'm saying, what I'm saying when I said that. So it's like when you live in it, it's like your short-term is full of thinking about the long-term, and it's like, it can sometimes as a creator feel like, lonely or mundane, or why am I doing it? Is like, does it really matter over time and all that kind of stuff? But it's like, I think that's just a maturity of the faster you get accurate. For example, if I'm a bow and it, like what do they call it? Archer. There you go. I couldn't remember the word. If I'm
archers.
I have
to say that every time someone's archer, you have to call for the archers.
My favorite thing is what is it? Fury with Pitt and LaBeouf or whatever, where he's like, oh man, it's like the army movie or whatever. Anyways, but he's always like yelling when they're sending the missiles. So it's like archery, right? If you get better at hitting the bullseye, does that make it boring to be an archer because you're more accurate now? No, it means you have matured in your skill, in your ability, in your accuracy. You're just there quicker. It's more entertaining. Like, it's almost like that middle ground where you have it half figured out, like you're hitting the target every time, but not the bullseye. You want to keep going until you're like, ooh, I can hit the bullseye, 3 out of 5 arrows or whatever. But once you get to the point to where you're hitting 4, almost 5 out of 5 bullseyes every time, it doesn't become boring. You just work on different areas of your craft. And like I was saying earlier, I think that's almost a position you're in where it's like, when I knew you in 2016, it would have taken you 3 months to even figure out how to approach what you just did. You took maybe, and I may be exaggerating, so you can correct me in the areas I'm wrong, but you took a moment in time, you planned it for 1 to 3 days, you executed for 1 to 3 days, and then because you're quick to set it to a certain quality level, test it, and then optimize it over time. You rolled that shit out like it was like, and then for you, you're already operating in it as if it's something that's been around for 4 or 5 months because you're so accurate now. Whereas everybody else, it's new and fresh. To you, it already feels old. Because you're like, I've been doing it.
Red, White, and Swole and PROCAST were, I think they were both under like 24 hours. I mean, Red, White, and Swole was like immediate. That was up like the same day. That was up, that's probably 24 hours, I would say.
Yeah.
Like the idea and then the execution of it. And there were actually like ideas, just concepts from a while back. But yeah, the execution was immediate. Like the branding was immediate. The focus was immediate. Impact was a great extra add-on to Swolenormous Pro. And these are just the beginnings. These are just the seedlings. Like I'm leaving them more or less wide open, still playing around with different types of content, different approaches. But to your point before, when you were saying the long term, I think fundamentally it's a hard thing to think long term. I think it's just categorically stressful for a human to think long term, even though that's what's required for success today, because we are hardwired only for short term.
Right.
There's nothing in the human species that's wired for long term. Aside from like making sure that your offspring survive. It's all about get shelter today, get food right now. Right. Get water now, fight off that bear now. Right. Oh, it's raining, let's get to shelter now. There, like from an evolutionary standpoint, there's no long term. It's survive today to see the next day. Right. Survive today for the next day. It might be like, ooh, hide it, bring some food and save it for tomorrow. But it's not like, okay, one day. Now I'm thinking like, oh, well, this is a 5-year, 10-year plan. Come on, like a 5-year, 10-year plan, especially when things are changing all the time. So it's really hard to, and I think what you were also referring to is a time compression. Like for me,
I like that 24. Word. That's a musician word.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. Yeah. It's an audio thing. I'm fucking with my compressor nonstop. Like I'm still fucking, how's my audio sound? Decent?
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Yeah.
I'm fucking my shit all the time. I really do think it's my headphone amp should be coming in this week. I think my headphone amp, like my feedback is just I think it's so distorted because I keep on fucking with my audio, just not to get too far off topic, but then I listen to my computer or my AirPods or something else and it sounds great. Yeah. And I put this on with the headphone amp and it sounds like crap. Yeah. And I know it also,
get rid of those axioms or whatever.
Well, one is I know it's going to give me more detail anyway, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think I'm getting an accurate representation. No, because I have this headphone amp. I don't think it's my interface because I only use that for a line out. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. But my amp is a splitter, so I got a single headphone amp, a really good one.
Nice.
A solid one that's just an amp, so it's going to amplify these headphones. Because this is like right now on the splitter. The monitor is all the way up in my interface, but this is like we're talking like almost like probably 80 or 90% for the amp.
Right.
So even if it's, it's not going to be at that like ratio, it's not going to be an accurate signal when it's almost maxed out. So I just need one that's more powerful. I'm hoping it works. But anyway, the time compression, that's like, that's a big problem because things move so fast. In 24 hours, I'll be amped up about a piece of a subject. I'll be really excited.
Right.
And then the next day it'll be old, it'll be too late. Like things have to be posted now or they're old. Like if I make a video today and it's posted tomorrow, okay, that's almost too late.
Yeah.
I think it's also
I know exactly what you mean.
I think it's also because the news cycle is that fast. And I see other channels that might post a topic 3 or 4 days after I post a topic. And whether or not first is better or doing it later, I'm starting to chill out a little bit with certain topics. Like, hey, I can make a video about it a week after it happened. It's just my take on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you're keeping up with stuff, especially with Papa Swolio doing news or doing the podcast, I'm always tweaking. I'm going to be tweaking a couple things with the podcast too. Like, what kind of content I'm covering and certain things with the flow. Like that's fun. But yeah, I'm just kind of in between because I'm starting to treat all my content more. They're all different arms, they're all different styles, but I'm talking to the same people.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the same audience. I'm talking to the same people. And that's why a lot of the content style, the delivery doesn't have to be different. I just realized I don't have to have like all this different frilly, it doesn't have to be shot in this location. Doesn't always have to be 4K highly edited. Doesn't always have to be a cinematic experience. I hold myself to a high standard, but at the same time, it's the execution. I feel like voice, I feel like hearing. Again, like it's just the way I like to consume content. I don't want to sit there and watch a video.
Right.
Sometimes I do. Cool. That's why you have driving while gaining. It's like icing on the cake. You have a nuts on chin. Nuts on chin is great. I'm not going to be doing it every day. I think it's too much. I think people get used to it. I think people get bored. I mean, not bored, but I think it becomes the same old. I think it gets stale. Even if something's great, I think it gets repetitive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be splitting up the content there, kind of like what I already did before. But I've mentioned this, but we'll mention that. I'll talk because I haven't fully. It's not officially executed yet, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
It depends on when it comes out. But that being said, mixing up I'm not afraid to change things, and it always comes back. It's coming back. It's funny how you mentioned that. It's all. And when you said about the pillar, how like my resolve with the pillar on the red, white, and swole, there's a pillar on the left, right?
Yeah.
Everything's got a pillar.
Yep.
Everything's got a pillar. Everything's about the pillars. It all comes back to that because it's the same audience. It's the same Swole fam, and that's what's coming back to the main channel. It's just, I'm bringing everything back. I paused. I'm looking around. I'm seeing like the emotion, the focus. I know there's a lot of distraction. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of hardship. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people are really stifled for what they can say at work. So I'm very aware that I need to be vocal because I need to plant my flag and also be the place where people know they're going to come and and be able to talk about shit that they get canceled for. And be able to agree with something. People need to hear that other people think the same as they do. And it's not something like, and it's not that I want to virtue signal. It's that it's important to share your opinion because that's what your audience needs. They want to know, we're all humans and there's a lot of transparency. And rather than put on a front and act like, driving all fancy, and that's not my thing. I'm just doing things my way. And I want to make, it's all about the content. It's all about the volume. It's all about the message and the execution. So it's important to, I guess, cross all those areas like a Venn diagram, like make sure I'm executing, make sure I'm doing it, but make it as effective for me and as efficient for me as possible. And it's like that quality over quantity ratio, but also being authentic and just executing, man. I mean, I'm just, and I think going back, I know I've rambled a little bit there, but the time compression, I think that was a good topic that I kind of skirted from. But things change so fast that when a new channel launches, I'm like, I'll be frustrated. Oh man, it's not working, or it's not doing the way I thought it would be. It's like, bro, you created this. Papa Swole was less than a month ago.
Yeah,
I was looking at my analytics. I'm like, oh man, well, X, Y, and Z. I looked and doesn't even go back 30 days. I'm like, oh shit. So I thought it was. I feel like I've been doing it for months,
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. It's just, it can get really, I don't want to say dangerous, but it's I guess a risk or a vulnerability in your own head if you are moving too fast for your own good without perspective. Like as long as I check myself and realize, all right, dude, you've been doing this for a short, you just started this. Like, how long did it take for the Swolenormous channel to pop? 3 years?
Yeah.
It took from 2016, from like March is when I started, March 2016 to February of 2019. I got 10,000 subs.
I remember that
in 3 years. And that was the Brittany Dawn time period and then the last year I got 100.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me 3 years to get 10 and then another year to get another 110.
Yep.
And then now it's like completely flatlined to fucking hell, but I'll have 400 thumbs up and 3 thumbs down.
Yep.
So the like ratio is like 99%, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not getting distribution. No new people are getting shown my content. They're not showing my shit to anyone. And that's the frustrating part. So I still love making the content because people that watch my channel love the content, which makes sense. That's why they watch the channel. But I don't know anyone that talks this aggressively and goes this hard on these topics that gets 3 thumbs down, like single digits. That's unheard of on YouTube. It's unheard of.
Right.
So it's frustrating that, look, really, you don't think anyone else, you don't think anyone else, the like ratio is 99.9%. You don't think that maybe someone else might like this video too? There could be someone in the other 7 billion people in the world might want to check this out. Really? No one?
That would give you too much control. You're empowering people. You're awakening people. You're giving them information. You're helping them live healthy. You're helping them.
How dare you?
Like legit? Like and let's be honest. Like
no, it's absolutely true.
And I'm not. And again, no conspiracy. But you are a threat to a model that thrives off of that kind of stuff. Let 2 of your videos go viral at the same time. You just indoctrinated 3 million people about how much control they have over their nutrition and health. Oops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just
remember that one, the You're Fat, that got banned after a while.
Yeah.
And it got blocked after a while. It got,
you know what you should do is you should screenshot every life-changing moment and email it to the whoever's in charge of that department and say, I'm glad that you took this video down. Here's every single life that it's changed.
All on deaf ears. Yeah, well, that one got what, the You're Fat video, The Truth Hurts, got 4.5 million views. Bro, like the feedback on that was unreal. Like the positivity was unreal.
Right.
Because all I did was say, it's your responsibility. Like, why don't you care about your health? Like, why don't you take care of your body the same way you take care of your car? That was the message. It's like, why?
KD's lacking right now, y'all too. I need to get back on my Swole game.
Get back on it, bro.
I'm not necessarily slacking. I've just been working really hard, so I haven't been eating until for example, today I have not eaten today.
Neither have I.
Wow.
I
don't not to turn this all nutrition stuff. Is that bad that I'm doing that?
No. I only one time a day. I've downsized some. Like I've kept a lot of muscle, but I've lost some extra inflammation. I just feel better than I ever have before. And I don't really necessarily promote 1 meal a day per se. Like if you're trying to make gains and bulk up, you need more times during the day to eat. It's just hard to eat a couple thousand calories in 1 meal. It's not necessarily like, it's uncomfortable. But I really just
go ahead, finish.
No, I personally just kind of, I don't really eat all day. Sometimes I have a little bit, like I had a little bit earlier, like a couple leftover pieces of steak, and maybe I'll have like a piece of fruit or something like that. But I usually wait until later in the day when Mama Swolio is home after I worked out. Then we'll like make a steak and have like our meal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worked out. It's like, well, if I feel fine and I'm maintaining, I feel good, I'm not in pain. I like it better than when I was in the gym training when I say super hard, meaning just like lifting, like doing just lifting weights, like just straight, just lifting weights. Cause now when I'm doing so much dynamic stuff with kettlebells and movement and body weight exercises, I'm getting sore. I'm maintaining a lot of muscle, but I just feel better. Like even when I'm sore, I just feel more mobile.
Yeah.
That when you're bodybuilding, you just get so stiff. You get so stiff because you cause so much micro trauma because of just the focused resistance. It's just, when you're doing more twisting, it just disperses it over more muscle groups. So it's a different feel, but I enjoy it. It's a nice balance plus I think I just never thought I would love working out at home so much because I never really had equipment, but just being here and being able just to take my shirt off and train here and not have to go anywhere, it just saves so much time and allows me just to do my thing in my place. I don't have to worry about going there, driving there, getting out of the car, and then going to the gym and having to wait for something and go over here and the fucking fluorescent lights are fucking my eye holes and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's just when there's so much content to make, it's like, I want to be able to do it here, especially after the shutdown and stuff. It's like, that's one of the reasons why I bought all the stuff, and I just kind of translate into, you know what, I'm not going back to the gym. I'm just going to invest it and go all in, because with the shutdown, well, what am I going to do if I have to demonstrate an exercise?
Right.
What if I got to make a content for X or make a program? I need to have stuff I can demonstrate.
Right.
So I bought all the stuff. So it was a double-edged, it was both. But then once I did, I just kept on going, and I realized I really do love, I bought the stuff to train here, but it was also a double-ended, like, it's also for content. So it's like an investment in the business as well.
Yeah.
And a huge point of vulnerability. I saw it instantly, like a couple weeks before the shutdown. So I just bought tons of shit, and I've continued to. So like I got those big fucking kettlebells, 150 pounder.
Yeah.
Dude, this thing is like
last week, right? Yeah.
What? Yeah, I have a 124. I have like 15 or 16.
Lift that shit.
I have like 15 or 16 kettlebells over here. So I have the 97, I have a 124 and a 150.
What's up with the odd numbers? Why do they make like a 97, 124?
Kilograms.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, why did they? That's because they have what? Let's see. They have no, these are the pounds. So it goes, so the poundage is, they have 70, they have 62, 70, 80, 97, 106. I didn't get that one. 124, 150, 176, and then 202. So I almost bought those other two because when you order like UPS freight, it's all the same shipping. It's like $100, dude. It's like $160 shipping. So I thought, I'm like, oh, I can get these other ones, just get them all. And I'm like an extra 600. It's like, no, it's just like a 200 pound. It's just, how much is too much? Like, I don't want to break through the floor.
Right.
Throw it off the edge of the.
But that weight in the room is like, woof.
Yeah, no, it's been fun though. But anyway, it's everything that I've been doing for investing has been about making content easier.
Yeah.
And there's something about just recording and audio, and I don't know, I just can't slow it down. Like, it just seems like this style of content, just commentary, talking about all these different subjects, is just the future. Like, I just keep on thinking about the podcast aspect of this. Like, this is going to be uploaded, this is going to be a podcast. I'm looking at, the Red, White, and Swole, and I have like the music playing in the background. Part of me is thinking, man, maybe I shouldn't have music. Maybe I should upload as a Red, White, and Swole podcast. Every episode is just an audio too, but then it just becomes like another, like, holy crap. Like, it's a good idea, and I know it could easily be, or they could be longer episodes. I've had some people mention on the podcast, on the Daily Swole, oh, I wish they were longer, which is super flattering because they're only like 10, 15 minutes on the Red, White, and Swole, but people like an hour long news show or, some updates. But I'm also not that's the thing. I'm also not trying to, I'm not like a political pundit. So like, if I have a show, it really does, because I'm doing so many things, it's irresponsible to like have, unless it's like 3 episodes in one, right. For me to be talking like, okay, well today, it's like, even I can't pay attention to every little nuance of things that are going on. So like, talking about one issue is very bite-sized for me too. Like, I can formulate an opinion, I can look at a couple sources, or, have my thoughts on it and then share it with people, and give some context. So, but these are all options. Like, everything that I think of, here, I had this idea last night because I knew we're doing the PROCAST today. It was every single piece of content. When I record it, I realize this is what I do. Every style of video, every single branded show is always, and I kind of think back of like the reason why I do it the way I do, because it has to be something that could be expanded into either audio, written, or video always.
Yep.
Nothing I do is just one, except maybe like the audio experience, which I don't update frequently, but I've always thought I could always upload audio from other videos so you can listen to all my content audio in addition. Mm-hmm. So even like Nuts on Chin videos, like you want to watch on YouTube, cool. You want to just listen to the YouTube videos on a podcast form, you can too.
Yeah. What I thought of the other day?
That was like my next thing with like audio experience, but then it's also, it's kind of cool just being like unique thoughts, but there's so many sections for me to post content because I don't know, but I don't want to necessarily step on the audio experience's toes for
sure
the type of content it has been, but I keep forgetting. I'm like, oh shit, I got another podcast there. I got 3 podcasts or 4.
I thought about doing something, and it would take a little bit more like, because with the systems and processes it takes to do some of this stuff. But it's like, I thought of taking the 3 versions of content that I'm doing, technically 4, because I want to do that music stuff too or whatever. But essentially, imagine if like the King Darius experience and What's Sacred, and then what I'm going to do, I'm doing something like you and I have been talking very similar to, your style of content for like Impact and some of the other shows, because I love your flow, love how it's working. I like the commentary style of content. Obviously, I've seen other people do it too, and certain people aren't. I mean, a lot of people aren't nearly as good at it as you are. But I thought about essentially having the initial upload and then the separation upload. So like essentially to where King Darius experiences all of them and they all get uploaded as like an hour-long episode, but then I also export them out of Premiere as individual ones that can live on their own channels if people only like that segment. Like if they only like What's Sacred, or if they
different channels or highlights,
same channel, different playlists. Now I'm not as big as you. If I was as big as you, I'd probably like do different channels. But for me, like imagine like, so the King Darius video experience, you can watch the full thing all the way through. And then like, let's say 30 minutes in, I'm like, all right, so let's go to What's Sacred, what's happening in this week, you know, all that kind of stuff or whatever. But on the export, that one's like, you know, you
could do that. I mean, that's like doing this and then having highlights.
Yep.
That's like having the highlights too. I mean, actually that like to your point, that happens on the Daily Swole channel. If you look at that, the Daily Swole, I have the live stream.
Yep.
I have Extra Thirsty, but I also have clips. So if you see the thumbnail with the little Daily Swole in the left corner, that's a clip, usually me talking about one of the Swole fan posts from the show.
Yeah. So exactly like that. Yep.
Yeah.
So and just making it like real tight, like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually probably something that's going to be happening on the Daily Swole channel is I'm planning on like moving stuff around. I want to do more Swole fan posts. I want to do more topics. Like I want to bring it back to like some other different things and pull more clips from that. Yeah. And just make the Daily Swole more just like clips from the Daily Swole, like making it more podcast. Or I like the Extra Thirsty. I don't know, but again, the Daily Swole is hardcore flag too. The Daily Swole, it got banned too, or shadow banned, or whatever you want to call it. Like the analytics are fucking stunted on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think too. Speaking of shadow ban, I think they can know on several levels, like on the channel level, on the IP level, and the device level.
Well, they definitely know it's my channel.
I was gonna say, because there's been times where I start a new, like for example, like TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Let me say TikTok real quick, because when I was shadow banned, I wanted to test to see if it was actually true. So I had like 2 or 3 other things. I had like 5 or 6 I started, and I got rid of a couple of them. And to see if I could ramp up, and I did. I ramped, I ramped one of them up to 15K like pretty quick. I ramped another one up to like 3K really quick. I forget which one I deleted was at like 5 or 6, because it was like around I think, was that Sacred Gaming or some bullshit. I had like 3 or 4 posts pop off, and it like jumped up to like 4 or 5K real quick. But I wanted to test to see, and sure enough, as soon as they start taking off, boom, all of them. And I was like, how would they know that? Because what I did was I tried different sign-up processes for each one, like sometimes with my phone, sometimes with my email, sometimes and then they added that new way. And I'm like, because I wanted to see how they treated it differently, because and then even with like, and Jordan is really the only one that hasn't experienced it yet, obviously because of family changes and stuff like that. We've been taking a break, but like she's the only one who hasn't experienced it yet, specifically on that platform. So I'm just like, just while you said the word or the phrase shadow banning, I was like, I wonder if they all have different processes for it, like YouTube versus Instagram versus TikTok versus Facebook, if they all measure it differently, because essentially it's no different than like getting a Google penalty or whatever. It's, what I'm saying? Like, why I feel like if you're so strong on shadow banning, you should have a very clear, sophisticated appeal process to lift those things. If you're gonna control, at least allow there to be a process for people to abide and re-enter the ecosystem.
You lose your control, man.
Yeah, I mean,
you lose your control. If you can blame it on the boogeyman, you can blame it on the algorithm, and you blame it on you make it like really convoluted and you make it real shadowy.
Right. But like Facebook, for example, like for the ads, and rightfully so, because there's like regulations, like real regulations they can really get in trouble for. But like they have an account quality section now, which has been a beautiful process, because when you're running multiple ad campaigns or whatever, and you're getting random shit, disabled because of whatever, because of sensitivity, because of the style, because of, even just domain issues, because of redirect. I mean, there's a million reasons it can get disabled. Now there's a whole beautiful process that allows you to like, you know, and it still needs a little bit of work, but it's like, it's got its own section. And it's easy to get your ad account back up, or, you know, now they're being very, very specific. Like they used to be, and I hated it. They used to be so vague. I'd be in the middle of like a 5 or 6 figure campaign, and they would stop one of the ad sets that's performing the best and just say something general, like it doesn't follow our ad policy. And then you would ask them and they'd be like, oh, you know, try re-upload, whatever. Now they're saying it doesn't, you know, abide by this specific one for this clause or reason in that specific one. So if you remove this language or change this ending or change the root domain or change the subdomain or category or whatever, like or the copy on your landing page, they're being very specific about what it is that it got, you know, down for now, which is actually making it very nice for advertisers. And like, let me just put a blanket statement. Myself and my clients are spending more money because we know what the heck is wrong now. You see what I'm saying? So it's actually benefiting them because now we know, and we can get our ads back up quicker or shift it. And now next time we go to run a campaign, you know, in each individual case, it's like we're willing to commit a certain dollar amount or budget because we know if it does get shut down, we know exactly where it's going, what the problem is going to be, and how to abide by it or whatever. Now, granted, that's paid versus organic, so there's going to be different rules there. But I really feel that like, if in order for these social platforms to not, you know, or for, I don't want to act like it's doomsday or anything like that, but in order for them to retain the attention at the TikTok level, at the Instagram level or whatever, you can't do shit like that without a clear path back to reality. Now, granted, I mean, because look what happened to YouTube. They disrespected that rule, and think about how many creators left that platform, how many people don't give a shit about that anymore. People like, you know, not, I mean, they're still the number one, you know, so I mean, it's all hearsay, but all that to say, I just feel like if you're going to have such a strong stance on something, have a way to get back to your version of what you think is okay, you know?
I think it's more trust too.
Yeah.
It's more trust. It's like being a parent.
Right.
Not like I would know, but you would. So for example, you tell your kid, do I have kids? You tell your kid something and they ask you like, because I said so, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, but they're not stupid. They know, they know you're being a hypocrite because then they see you having a drink, you know, they see you having, let's say you can't have water. No, you can't, because they might pee the bed or whatever like that. But then they see you drinking it. Well, how come you can have it? I'm sure your girls have said that, or, you know, why can't you? And you're like, because I'm older, because I said so. And like, they might shut up, but they're not buying it. Like on a deeper level, they're not buying it. So when YouTube says, because we said so, or this is the way it is, you're like, fuck this. You don't trust them. It's the trust, it's the authenticity, right?
Right. And it's really weird.
Yeah.
If you really think about that, not to dumb it down to something as cliche as like these platforms are just like their parents. But if you really think about it, it's really causing division because you're infusing both emotional, or more than just both, you're infusing emotional, mental, and financial stability, which would seem beneficial, but it's breaking a family household by giving the what do they call it, the minor, the stability in the facade of stability in those 3 areas, only to take it away. Like, I mean, it's all this stuff you were saying at the beginning of the episode, but I'm just like, it's very interesting to me because it's just like, how is it any different than like YouTube's just giving you allowance just like daddy would? It's giving you emotional support just like daddy would. It's giving you mental, you know, like whatever.
Thank you, daddy.
And it's like, and if they take that away or whatever, you're right. You're like, you're gonna rebel. You're gonna, you know, all that kind of stuff, whatever it is. And it's interesting because if you think about it, I mean, most of them are kids, so it's like, if you're
you got adults, you got adult children, bro. You got entitled fucking kids that grow up into entitled adults, and that's what you're seeing now. That's what you're seeing in the streets. That's where you're seeing people complaining about every last thing. I mean, it's very convenient that it's kind of like the Me Too movement, where you have people that are, you know, once everyone starts complaining, you're like, oh, I'll complain about this too. You're starting to see all these celebrities and athletes are now talking about all this oppression, and it's because like, dude, you are an all-American. You have like, what are you talking about, man? And like a lot of people are piggyback. I know it's a different subject, but yeah, I mean, it's a parent figure, but it's all psychology. It's all psychology and how you look at it. So I think it goes back to your point, like probably to wrap this up, but it's like in general, like all of this has been about trust. If people trust you, and I think that's why talking about more subjects from my personal perspective and covering this in the manner in which I see it from my own personal bias, which is you can't avoid a personal bias. It's like if you're talking, it's your bias.
Yeah.
So personal bias, but also just reporting and just talking about something that's online, giving people a different avenue that isn't like a major corporation, because I don't take advertisements and I don't take sponsorships. I don't have any currently.
Yeah.
So that's something that, yeah, right. And that's something that's very far and few between, because even most small creators, they jump on the first person that says, oh, at 10% off, save 10%. And I see people with no following on Instagram. I see people with no following on YouTube, like really no subscribers already running 10%. It's like,
yeah,
it's not a good look, because you can't undo that.
Same thing happened in the music industry.
You can't undo once you start saying, hey, save 10%, it covers, like, people might not, I know it's ubiquitous, but people, it puts you in a category of, oh, they're running an ad
for money.
Even if you read an ad, like I'm watching something and it's like, oh, independent news and this, and they start reading ads. I'm like, don't fucking read your ads.
And this episode of Procast is sponsored by, fuck out of here.
That's what it is, right? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by, no, it's brought to you by these sick fucking gains and KD and Papa Swolio. It's brought to you by Swolenormous Pro. It's brought to you.
Nuts.
I just don't like, sponsorships. I just don't like the perception. And that's where that Joe Rogan shit came in, because I understand that he's 50, whatever. He has a family. He has a few kids. He's had a long career. He knows what he likes. He knows what he's about. He's always done the podcast for him. So where he's getting his money, and it's his decision. So obviously it's the right decision for him. He's making it.
Right.
So I understand why he's doing it, but I know for a fact the perception is, oh, Spotify bought the Joe Rogan experience. I don't care if you call it a licensing deal. People don't hear that part. They know, oh, Joe Rogan's going to Spotify. That means Spotify gave him money. He is for Spotify.
Right.
So the problem is now that objective, independent, hey, Joe Rogan is, an independent, pillar of unbiased conversation. You have both sides of the aisle. Well, what if Spotify comes out and starts putting Black Lives Matter shit everywhere? Just for example, they start putting, I don't know if they did or not. They might have. I mean, everyone fucking did. But let's say they take a political stance as a company, which they have a right to, licensing agreement or not.
Yep.
It reflects on him. That's something that I've always been against. I never joined a frat when I was in college. I never liked to click when I was in high school. I was kind of in between. I was friends with people. I was friends with the sports people. I was friends with the quote, the nerds, all the classic groups. Like I was kind of like in between. Like I had certain connections.
So scary how similar we are.
But I don't like,
Did you ever party in high school? Or
you get cut out with the audio if we talk at the same time.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying like it automatically equalizes out. So I don't want to cut you off either, but I'll just finish with this, that, yeah, I mean, I was just always in between. So I don't, again, the sponsorship thing is the same vein.
Yeah. Did you party a lot in high school, or like since you didn't hang out with
No, not in high school. I was actually, my girlfriend in high school was she was like a real brain. So she wasn't like, she didn't drink, she didn't do stuff like that. So I didn't do much.
She gave that brain?
No, she was, well, like Princeton and Yale type brain.
Nice. That's the best kind.
Yeah. No, she always wanted to be an architect. So she did that. No, but that was a high school, and then college, we, that was it. It was just a high school thing, but it was like, yeah. So in high school, it wasn't so much like that, but I didn't really find interest in classes. I didn't find interest in college either until I switched my major to exercise science. But I still wasn't interested in the classes, because the classes were like anatomy, and it's like, oh God, I have no confidence. I just really am very resentful for the education system and how they fuck people over, how they fucked me over and everyone else. I was talking to someone actually, and they were doing like film school, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going back, they're like finishing up film school. And I'm like, why are you paying for, in my head, I'm thinking like, when you're paying for film school? And the response was, it's mostly for the connections and the networking. I'm like, you're going to go into debt for networking for film? Like, I'll show you some film school right here, son.
Right.
Like, what, you need to use big equipment? It's like, okay,
I recently ran into
it's like, bro, use all that money for fucking ads, bro, and start a channel. Like, you edit great. Like, edit fucking videos. Make the videos you want to make with your phone and stuff. People don't go, you want to go rogue like today to go to school for film? Like, what are you learning there?
speaking like literally directly related. I know we can wrap this up too.
Maybe sound engineering or something. Like, that's something that's like, that's different though. But again, to like, it depends on what you're trying to go after. But sound engineering, you can fucking learn that on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's actually a really good guy who does that.
Except for like having access to fucking like 100K of like, you know, a suspended room and the acoustics and the geometry and compression. Like sound, we don't have to get into sound because sound is the more I go into it, the more just like, this is harder than video. It's a fucking mind-blowing shit.
That's crazy. I just ran into to put a period on your film school comment. I was on a production like a month and a half, 2 months ago ish. And it was like a whatever 30-40 high quality cinema level videos, whatever. And so that project went great, start to finish. Me, my team, none of us went to film school, crushed it like we were, you know, whatever. Similar project, similar client, whole crew of people who all individually went to their own schools. Audio person went to audio school, film person went to film school. Bro, when I tell you the shittiest content I've ever seen, the sliding camera shaking, like lighting off, the white balance wasn't centered or you know, on each camera. So like just in general, like all the stuff you do in post-production almost nullified. Like, so I'm just, so anyways, exclamation point on what you said. None of it matters because legitimately you could get schooled by people who are digital creators essentially.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that the audience, the people, the creators have matured. People know about video editing. People know how to edit. They know, look, TikTok has fast-tracked the newer generation, everyone, into knowing exactly how to video edit, transitions, green screen. Mm-hmm. People that didn't know what green screen was, now you don't even need to have a green screen to do green screen.
Right.
Like people know how to create content, transitions, editing, text overlays, thumbnails, hashtags, vertical video. Like all of a sudden you went from, bro, the TikTok explosion this past year. I think that's why everything's kind of like felt flat.
Yeah.
Because it has gotten flat, because in the past, I would say 6 months, all of a sudden you've had everyone go from now the average creator is creating like at a high level, like for 2018 or 2019, you have everyone at this level, but now that level is here. So everyone's a great editor. Everyone can do virtual effects. Everyone can do a transition. Everyone can do a lip sync. Everyone can do, you know, on TikTok, but it's translating over. The question is, does it translate over? Can you also do YouTube? Can you also brand? Can you also, you know, a lot of people are scrambling to catch up. That plus COVID, it went digital hard. TikTok was popping off. So now everyone's like, so I'm sure the flood into the ad space has driven up like the, you know, all the cost and stuff like that. But I think going back to what you were saying before about like, for me, I'm like the sniffing, it's because everyone's here and a lot of people have shown up to the party and now the party's crowded and I'm looking for the quiet spot.
Yeah.
And I don't quite see it yet. I honestly think, and I'm not doing a lot of it, but I think one of the quiet spots is like YouTube community. I know YouTube is promoting, I don't have any kind of private membership on YouTube. And part of me has always thought that if I have a big channel, which I guess I do by all accounts, 120 something thousand on YouTube, like that one. Yeah. If I have a membership that's bringing in money for YouTube, I don't like giving YouTube any money if I can help it.
100%.
But if I have a membership, wouldn't they be more likely? Like if they're going to offer videos to two people, or would they more likely show someone that has a membership site that someone could sign up potentially and give YouTube some more revenue, or would they show someone that doesn't have a membership site? And I'm like,
the clear answer is yes, because other platforms have done the exact thing.
Right. So if you have one person that, oh, well, if people watch his channel, we might have 10 people sign up for memberships and we're going to pull in $50 a month. they're going to show that person that has that kind of cash in ratio, or that kind of upsell. Essentially, it's an upsell. They're going to show their video more because they have their own little YouTube funnel.
Yeah.
Right within YouTube. I just don't like giving YouTube any of my cheese.
Yep.
I don't want to give YouTube a dime. When people give a super chat, they take what, 70% or 30% or 20% or whatever. And if I have a membership, it's like, cool. Well, I have that inside Swolenormous X. So I've thought about doing it, but then it just creates another avenue for me to fucking have to post and create some other kind of like bonus content. It's like, I do enough shit. So I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same coherence as to like, well, like I want the message to get confused. Like I have joined the members. I have like 5 sites. I'm gonna have people join 5 different memberships and then have the Swole fam. And then it's like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense. So I haven't like pulled the trigger on that yet, just because I don't think the marketing message will make sense. I think it'll get confused.
Yeah.
Like if sending people to one spot, go to swolenormousx.com, go to Swolenormous X, don't hit the join button here. I don't know. It just hasn't pulled the trigger, but I'm aware of that. Like I almost want to create it just to see what happens, because I feel like if I do have a join button,
what you could almost do, and it's just random ideas to close
just
out.
put DWG in there.
Yeah. Since you're doing so good already, editorial wise, like from separation and segmenting and all that kind of stuff, you could almost do it. What you're doing with Swole TV, just broken out into each category, so that way people can choose which ones they want to be. Like you can do fractional subscriptions, like just subscribe to what's it called, to Procast, just subscribe to Red White Soul, just whatever. Or if you want the whole experience, go to swoletv.com and whatever. But you see, or I don't know, but then each channel would have like your theory kick, and
that's actually one of the ideas, is to have those little, well, like post the same content in 2 places, like kind of do like a
so like so for the fact that people are already asking for more for like Red, White, and Swole, for example, like the same flow of like you go for 45 minutes, but the first 10 minutes is public, the rest of it's behind that join button on Red, White, and Swole. Same thing with Procast, and it doesn't always have to be just length as the value proposition, but that would be
said usually is.
yeah. Too many.
That's what the Procast was going to be. Like, I mean, the Procast is going to be something along those lines where you're going to get most of the. But that's the thing, whether or not it's going to be something where it's a membership. But again, I don't like it having it dependent on YouTube. But it might be something where, give people more options, because some people would trust YouTube more than going to a private site, or you're already on YouTube, you want to catch extra. So it might be something where, they could do both, where they'll join Swole TV and get like, hey, you pay $2.99 on each site, or go to one for $4.99 a month. What is that?
Speaking of which, look who it is.
Was that what I do?
It's Papa Swolio posting Pittsburgh BLM protest while we're talking. Are you magic, bro? What's going on?
No, I posted that. No, I posted that 5 hours ago.
Oh, I'm just now getting the push notification.
Yeah, thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm getting the push notification at 9:18 p.m.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It says 5 hours ago. The Pittsburgh BLM. Yeah, this chick, bro, that video, this chick literally walked over to this couple's table and drank their beer.
For like a drink, or for real?
No, like she was protesting. She's wearing a shirt that says "Nazi lives don't matter." What? Who? What? Like who's?
The Nazis have to do with anything?
That's a great question, bro. That's a great question. It's probably has something to do with some white supremacy somewhere that is rampant in this country. Like, just again, but yeah, that's the
doesn't matter.
that's the whole idea. That's like the longer. And the thing is, what's cool is that I do see the long term with Red, White, and Swole. I do see like this becoming. Why couldn't it be live streams? Like I've kind of had this thought that Red, White, and Swole is probably going to be the biggest channel.
Do you think so?
I said it to you.
Yeah. Brand wise, you already, I mean, even just right now, like red glasses, American flags, like, I mean, you already operate as Red, White, and Swole, bro. You would be the poster child in the fucking, what's it called? Not mannequin, but the mascot. You'd be the mascot if there ever was a.
For America?
Yeah. Like legitimate.
Just up there like in fucking jorts, just fucking jean shorts.
And you literally have American flag shorts.
Jean shorts, like cowboy boots, and just like my beard and my hair and just barefoot on like a fucking caveman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the procast, like those are all ideas. Those are all ideas. I love the idea of having like it broken up and that, but then it's just, you got to let things grow first. So I think it's going to be something where I do implement some kind of join feature on the main channel.
I love it. Yeah.
Like, do it in addition to Swole. I just don't want to create something like that, but then, it's going to have some correlation because we've talked about Swole TV and where that's going to go and what that's going to develop into because, I'll always honor people that get content in there already.
Yeah.
But it depends on how that can be orchestrated because if you get content there, like
I was just gonna say, and you're getting to a sophistication to where you may have multiple successful business models where X is education and training and nutrition and all the things that X is, and then you have like an editorial that's a monetization model that's completely different. It could be half, of the same overlap of audience and half new people who don't even really realize Swole X exists, but they love Swolenormous as an editorial brand, just like the Huffington Post. Or
well, that's why the Red, White, and Swole is going to be. The Red, White, and Swole is just news. It's news. It's current events. It's my thoughts. It's and then the Swolenormous Pro is from the business and marketing, this Procast, and then other types of content. The Swolenormous channel, like we'll talk about in just a second, but like that's like the overarching, that's like the general. So it's a very interesting channel, and that was done before I had all these other, that was done first. So that's like always developing. That's kind of like a hub. So it's kind of important to that shift is going to be similar to the other channels, but it's going to be a different take to balance out a lot of stuff and also automate some of the content and, shift it away from stuff that's absolutely just bombing from the just trying to play around with analytics and trying to play around from a back end standpoint. So for example, like I was just checking my analytics for like the Daily Swole channel, things were popping off. I was getting a few hundred subs a day. And then like, I was looking at the analytics, like when I started doing the Extra Thirsty, like in June, dude, it's been like 2 or 3 months I've done the Extra Thirsty. It seems like 2 years. And it was getting like, 50, 60. I was bringing in, I was getting some revenue from ads.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, because I guess the topic, they started, bro, like $4 or $5 a day.
Oh, that's nice. You want some Starbucks?
Dude, no videos get approved. I get no, it's so ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. Hopefully
I'm not buying it,
man. You and I will always figure it out. We'll strategize some crazy, sophisticated own media strategy or something and
you know what it is?
Get rid of these jokers.
You know what it is? It's okay to be frustrated. This is frustration. This is like venting. It's like a little bit of disgust and despair, but it's not complaining because it's not like I'm going to fucking stop.
Right.
The only thing like and that's the thing, a lot of people will complain, oh my God, they're hearing this and they'll stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, I'm just talking about it and I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm just going to change how I do it because I'm not going to do stuff at a 10 I'm not going to do stuff one direction and just keep on smashing my head into a wall. I'm just going to change how I do it. It's just unfortunate that they're not rewarding content that is crushing.
Yeah.
And when I know objectively, like I know my content's been getting my content's been getting better and better just from my own perspective. But
you get the titles, the tags, the optimization.
Titles. I love the thumbnails. I love the NOC thumbnails. I love the titles. I love that the editing is great. The outro, it's all great. Then why isn't it? And it gets, and everyone loves it, dude. But then, so it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Just I'm going to keep on doing it, but I'm also going to do other things. I'm not afraid to take in a different direction. And you know me, man, if I change my mind with something, it's done the next day. I don't wait. It's like, nope, I changed it.
Yep.
Why? Because I felt it. I felt like it. Okay. I'll change it back.
Decisive.
I'll change the podcast. Like if I don't like the flow, if I want to change it up, I'll change it up. If I want to stop doing something, I'll stop doing it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I change it up just so I change things up so I don't get too comfortable with one thing.
All right.
Mix it up.
You're a gorilla.
All right, fam. I want to tell you that. I want to tell you about that thing. So let's
I've enjoyed my time with y'all.
Oh, dude. I can't wait to do another.
It's Tuesday. We'll do another one before
Tuesday.
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 We ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on this throne. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. Saw your main girl in the private section. Yeah.